Sounds good. So, all right, hitting go live.
All right. Hitting the go live button.
Bum, bum, bum. Being live is cool. It's much better than being dead. Hi, everybody. I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Connor Kungs. And you just missed Doug Drexler. God, if you guys only been here an hour earlier, you'd have caught Doug. Oh,
Yeah. We talked to him for like an hour and a half. It was nice.
Yes. But that was on Zoom. We are on Skype. Yes, so brand new Doug content coming pretty damn soon. He's jumping the queue, but also jumping in there before Picard starts. Because, you know, got how many Saturdays is that left? Got this Saturday, next Saturday, one more. So 3. So that'll be Thing I Won't Talk About, Doug and hopefully Thomas. Nice. It's a good 3.
Thing you won't talk about.
I'd just jinx, etc. And of course, check out last Saturday's Excelsior 2 detailed look. And the next gen Excelsior. It's so next gen Excelsior, it's called Excelsior 2. Which I guess means in theory they could introduce like Galaxy Class 9 in Picard. Or Galaxy 9, yeah.
That's just silly.
Yep. Yeah. But go check that out. It's a really interesting breakdown.
Yes.
Boy, orthographics are funny, Stuart, because no one ever animates with an orthographic, obviously, because that's not how you do it. So that's not how it's ever going to look, but it reveals secrets. So I always like that. Yeah.
Diddly doodly.
How you doing today, Stuart?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. It's been a lead up kind of day, because I know we're doing for 5 hours a day with Trekyards, so it's kind of managing other stuff. I've got a more chill weekend, but the last 2 days have been a bit of a cramming stuff in.
Jose, I think, is confused and says, easy, Star Trek Prodigy. And we're not asking which is the best Star Trek show. We're asking...
Done that already.
The question is, why is Trek the best sci-fi show? To which we've had responses like The Expanse. It isn't. You know, a few other things.
But that's how could one season of one show of like 50 episodes beat 600 episodes? You know, like anyway. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, after The Expanse has been around for 50 fucking years, then we can talk.
How many spin-off movies, books, TV shows, video games? How many dozens of how many Expanse conventions are there every year? How many theme parks? How many theme parks are made for The Expanse? How many spin-offs? Yeah. When you have 10 spin-offs, I think you're good.
Yeah. How many Rossliante, you know, set tours are there? Fucking none.
The official Rossliante tour, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna start sharing. I'll see you in a minute.
Go for it. All right, guys. Hit that like button. We have 22 of you here, which is awesome. 17 likes. We will be drinking today. So I have my Disaronno, my Peach Crown Royal, a beer, and we will be, yeah. So you guys are determining that with your super chats. Super chat in what you think, which is the best sci-fi franchise in your opinion, if it's not Star Trek, or why do you think Star Trek is the best, or why do you think it might not be the best, and give us the reason. Super chat in, let us know. We will drink and have a good discussion, and hopefully have a good time. So other than that, as you guys know, please make sure you're subscribed, because YouTube tends to unsubscribe people. Also, make sure that you click the bell notification icon to all so you don't miss any of our content. We just released a new Titan animation for Titan Tuesdays and Thursdays leading up to Picard today. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out as well. Also, by all means, please support the channel by joining us. There's a join button down there. You can actually join the channel as a subscriber. That helps us out immensely. Or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards, which is another monthly way that you can help support us. We'd really appreciate that. And anything you guys can do to help is, again, like I said, greatly appreciated. Also, in the description of every video, there are links to the TeePublic and the Teespring store. We got a lot of great Trekyards merchandise. Go check some of that out. We got some really cool shirts and designs, and support Trekyards, and just walking around with a Trekyard shirt on. We'd really appreciate that also. So And Chris, we know he knows that people are allowed to like The Expanse. We're just saying it's not the best sci-fi franchise by any stretch of the imagination. So, I'm still old enough to remember Star Trek as an old expired series that was only revisited in an animation series that wasn't really all that popular at the time. I mean, it was popular enough to still have Star Trek conventions before even the motion picture. So I disagree with that argument also. But yeah. Yes, Donnie, I'm also looking forward to a final Picard trailer.
I'm back.
Yay. Sebastian, €5.
5.
Let's
Yes.
get the ball rolling.
Yes.
It's the best because it's relatively intellectual and more than just a popcorn series.
Huh.
Hell yeah.
Although, how many just popcorn series are there? What would you rate as a popcorn sci-fi show?
It's a good question. I don't think of one.
I don't know if I'd rate many, because most TV shows try and be more than the sum of that idea. Anime probably be a closer example, because they can just be like go action. I mean, BSG certainly isn't it's quite intellectual. Red Dwarf is definitely not. Expanse, I don't think is. Lost in Space is, but it's also very slow in a lot of the time. There are Star Wars shows, maybe Mandalorian, but that really slow in some scenes. So I don't know. Oh, let me do a poll.
Depends what your definition of a popcorn series is. One that you don't have to think about, well, then that's no fun. I understand popcorn movies, like just action movies, dumb action movies for the sake of being action movies, but I don't know if there's any sci-fi really like that, now that you've said that. Good question, Sebastian. Mr. Mark Lawrence is here with $10. Thank you so much. Let's see how rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling we can get these guys today. Hell yeah. In that order.
All right, so I've got some different booze today. Oh, I lost you.
And Maddie.
Let me show off my booze first. So I've got some leftover booze from New Year's. It's Mandarin Gin Liqueur.
Nice.
And also cranberry juice, because I had cranberry juice left over. So I'm hoping I like the combination. I don't know yet, I've not tried. So we'll see my live reaction of Mandarin Gin and cranberry juice.
Damn. Well, Maddie has joined the channel at the rank of captain. Welcome aboard,
thank
Captain.
you very much. That's actually incredible, thank you.
Captain Corky has been a member for 10 months at the rank of commander.
10 months, bloody incredible too, thank you.
As Trek inspires us to hope, grow, and exceed ourselves. Yes.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's got sparkles in it, got flakes.
Ooh, gold flakes.
Yes, alright, this might be terrible.
Sergeant Montgomery, member for 25 months. Captain.
So long.
Star Trek is my favorite sci-fi. No other franchise has had as much direct effect on civilization than Trek, from entertainment to scientific ideals.
Yeah, it was funny, Stuart. 25 months. I said this to Doug, obviously earlier, you were there, saying, Doug, 8 years. And he's like, 8 years? I'm like, Doug, that means you've known us for 8 years. Like, yes, I was your first... Yeah, this whole spiel. But he was quite taken aback by that, I think. Because it's like, knowing Doug for 8 years, because he was like month 4, so... He's in that first year.
Yeah.
That's just, yeah. All right, let's see what it is. So, wow, it hides the booze taste wonderfully. Just so cranberry. Oh my god. It's so tart. Oh my god. It's like, for different reason. Ooh.
And Maddie, who just joined at the rank of captain, says, love everything you guys do. So happy to be a part of and join the crew.
Yep.
Keep up the amazing work.
Well, Matty, I know you know, and I know you already said, but channel memberships are legitimately incredible. We some months makes almost not enough to live, and that's obviously debatable. If you've got a bill to pay, that like if you've got a car to do, or I've got a thing to do, we don't make enough that month, and it sucks. So things like that, the regular, help keep us going. We know either way we put the content out, because we know we don't want to put up behind a paywall. We know the guys that really appreciate it. So we want you to have all that fun content. And if you like Picard, if you like Lodex, if you like Prodigy, I mean, we're the only place doing that sort of content. Yes, there might be other review channels, but we do all the breakdowns, all the analysis, and we get the guests as well. So thank you so much. And you know, if as we always say, if 10 people gave 10 a month, makes a difference.
Exactly.
Sorry, bit of a spiel there, but I mean, 10 captain's a really nice a month. That's actually a lot of months. So thank you so much. It really means a lot to us. And it means you outrank me, you prick.
Which is the best part.
Which is the best part.
Sci-Fi Science Interest throws in £5.
Oh, that's this one.
Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra, Shaka, when the walls fell.
It did fall, yeah.
Indeed.
Dear me.
Anyhow, yeah, we're just gonna chat and have some fun today. So
and we
have
have
your opinions though.
And we have got the $50 change costume available. I've got costumes ready. If you want to make me be all festively Trek, $50 makes a big difference. So let me know. You know, they've got TNG, TOS, Voyager, Picard, other Picard. There's 2 Picards. Oh, there's 3 Picard. 3 Picard. Oh, I've got all 3, but I just don't like the third one. You know what I mean. I got a low decks one I don't like to wear because it just doesn't look very good. So Stuart, is Star Trek the thing we said? Is it the best Trek? No. What's the wording? Yes. I've got my brain has stopped working. What is the thing I'm trying to?
Sci-fi show.
Okay. Yes. What do you think? Why is it? Is it? Is it not?
Okay.
Okay. Sit down, everyone.
there's a good debate about whether it could be or not. It's very human-centric and human-focused, which is fine. It's things like Star Wars, which you could argue is also one of the best like sci-fi franchises, at least, because it is so alien in many regards, much more so than Star Trek, I think. But yeah, the ideals, the morals, the things that they deal with, the sense of exploration, of wanting to learn new things, and just the way they deal with all that stuff, I think, makes Star Trek kind of stand above Star Wars. You can't really compare them. It's almost like apples and oranges, because Star Wars is more action-driven.
Well, it's also best TV show, so they've only made yes. 5 TV shows. So you've got to discount the movies already, because it's not part of the same thing. So, and that's arguably the best content. The first 3, etc.
Yeah. No, yeah, so in that case, for television shows, absolutely, I think it's the best. There's nothing that even comes close. So...
I mean, it obviously the question is meant to be this massive, overarching, if you have to pick, right? But obviously Trek is not one... If it was just like 1999 and you had TOS and TNG, there's a much more straight line of metric. But if you have Discovery, Stranger Worlds, Picard, Lower Decks, Animated Series, Prodigy, Voyager, DS9, Enterprise... I mean, the spectrum of the franchise is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, does any sci-fi television property have 10 spin-offs? I mean, what has the most? I mean, Babylon 5 had 2, and they both failed. Neither got a second season. Although, is like Prodigy technically a spin-off or just a new show? In the context of, you know, like DS9 was a TNG spin-off, Voyager was a TNG spin-off.
You could say it's a spin-off of Voyager because it got Janeway, so...
Yes, you could. But it's weird to have a spin-off, you know, 18 years later. But then again, like How I Met Your Father is a spin-off. That 90 Show is a spin-off of things from 20 years ago. So this is not unheard of now.
Yeah. Well, Christopher Beatty throws in $20. One thing to consider are that the series that were dropped and never promoted for various reasons afterwards, series like UFO, which they tried to revise as Space 1999, even Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Yeah, that's a good point too. I'm gonna have half a shot for that. Let's try to beat Serona.
Because that's, yeah, and obviously you have anything that was made before a certain time, international distribution of such, is going to be different. So if you lived in the UK, a lot of the UK science fiction shows would have been giant at their time. But if they were never, like I said, distributed on a network or whatnot, then the lifespan of them basically dies. Versus Trek, it's managed to endure every year non-stop for 50, give or take, in one form or another. But all those sci-fi shows, yeah, might have been incredible, but they had no life after. They just happened. You know.
Yeah.
It's not like the Thunderbirds, though, managed to keep going by doing like 19 spin-offs. I wonder why it says some properties grabbed somebody versus other things. Even X-Files, right? X-Files was great at the time, but it's not remotely relevant now. You know, they made their sequel movies, but no one's talking X-Files, no one's thinking X-Files. I know actually there was a new X-Files show. Was that X-Files?
Yeah, there was a few other extra seasons. They were up to season 11.
No, I mean with a different cast. Because wasn't there Jordan Peele? Was that X-Files? Oh, that was Outer Limits. No, it was But I mean, they did their revivals, but like, no one talks about it unless there's a new show. It has no grabbing power, right? Whereas we are talking Trek, we are talking Wars. Sometimes we talk Gate. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Chuck A, TNG fanatic. Remember, for 34 months at the rank of captain. And Star Trek: The Best Generation.
Well, it definitely helped the world, so you know it's making some people better.
Tom Casey, $10. Thank you so much. Without Star Trek, I wouldn't have found you guys. Love what you guys do. Always entertaining, good and bad. Thank you, Tom.
And we know you well, Tom. We know you well. Jesus.
Good and bad. Thanks. We try.
But sometimes you make us drink so much that the bad seeps in, and we do things. Things happen.
Sometimes I just do late night lives and the bad seeps.
Yep. Oh, I sometimes hear reports, Stuart.
You hear reports? Oh my god.
Sometimes. Occasionally.
I gotta stop doing late night lives now. Spies in our midst. Gorgonzola says there are better sci-fi single stories, but not shows. For example, I would like to think of Isaac Asimov's Foundation, as it has not reached in quality by any storyline in Star Trek, but not the question. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's some really fantastic sci-fi standalone movies, books, and just premises, honestly. But
the premise of Star Trek is just these are some people in the future at work.
In an Earth that's cleaned up its act.
Like the premise is not actually a premise per se. It's just we're watching these people do. Versus BSG, the premise is far more specific. Stargate is a bit more specific. Trek is open-ended. It's like Doctor Who. Doctor Who is time man or woman going anywhere anytime. That's it, right? That's kind of, and that honestly might be part of the reason why it's worked better, because Stargate you can't keep keeping the gate a secret from people. BSG you got to Earth. There is not you wouldn't want 9 seasons, 14 spin-offs of BSG. It wouldn't make sense. Trek is not like Orville would mostly work. Also, same thing. It's almost a procedural in space. It is open-ended, especially if you can move eras. Yeah, that might be also why it's helped.
I agree. Eric Martin throws in $20.
Thank you so much.
I do like the Stargate franchise, but it's not as big or have the impact of Star Trek. Yeah, I don't know. Stargate is very much a great sci-fi like idea, and it's super relatable because it's not Earth of the future, it's not humans of the future, in this utopian, society that you can wish for, but not really relate to. Stargate is very much like, yes, you can relate to it. If you're in the military, you might be going through this gate to another planet. Be quiet about that. I don't know. I think Stargate's fucking fantastic. So
yes, Stargate's a giant exception to the rule a bit, because I think the writing in Stargate is on average better than Star Trek. There are so few bad Stargate episodes. There are so few good ones. There are so few amazing ones. There is almost no bad ones. Whereas Star Trek, that spectrum is far more broad. There's lots of okay, lots of good, loads of great, lots of amazing, a couple bad. But Stargate was a perfect hybrid of story and character. Star Trek, for the most part, is story with some character. Stargate balanced it far more, so you get a lot more oomph for it. So I think Stargate, is a very close other, but then you have 50 years. And, a bit more murder in Stargate.
You were talking about spin-off shows, and Stargate definitely had quite a few, so...
Yep, no, they had technically three. Three and two movies from originally movie. I mean, that beats BSG, happily. Although I guess technically they had... I mean, if you think successfulness, Blood and Chrome, not pursued. Caprica, 2 seasons, not that well remembered. Atlantis, almost as good, if not better, in many regards. Universe, divisive, but at least I would say it was good. So there's a lot more.
Was the plan like its own thing from Battlestar Galactica?
Well, they're all parts of the same thing. The plan is just a movie from the Cylon's perspective that takes place during all 4 seasons. It's great.
Yeah.
So clever. Yeah. It's like the perfect retrospective because you get to see scenes. And I still maintain that they're new takes. So they went to the original scenes and just used different angles and different takes to make them feel different. But they also didn't reshoot them. Why would they reshoot them? But it's great that there's some scenes where they take footage from the first time they shot it, and then they slide the sets. They just turn left, and a character walks out from the right. They were there the whole time. They use an old take, and then it's very clever.
Well, Gorgonzola says from 1974 to 1981, Star Trek was not the single best sci-fi show. I disagree because there's still Star Trek conventions. As there was only old shows of Star Trek, but Tom Baker was the 4th Doctor. My opinion wasn't alive back then. See, but there's still Star Trek conventions during those years as well.
But it was a niche basement people vibe.
It was, but there was still Star Trek conventions. And there weren't other sci-fi conventions. There was Battlestar Galactica convention.
There's definitely Doctor Who conventions.
There's definitely Transformers conventions.
Although Doctor Who would be limited to the UK. Well, Doctor Who's tricky because Doctor Who didn't reach the USA in the same way. So in terms of people watching it, America's audience is always going to be bigger. But certainly Doctor Who, it being on every week, all year round, for decades, so in that time.
Yeah.
But then when Trek gets 3 spin-offs in 3 years and movies at the same time, I mean, there becomes a heyday of like wow, and the video games and the Doctor Who never got that. In fact, as we know, Doctor Who, the popularity and quality decreased over time. Mostly because the budget's decreased. Whereas DS9 is not worse than TNG. Voyager's not worse than DS9. Like they all their own thing, right? Even Enterprise is kind of its own thing.
Donnie prefers the Orville a little more than all the current Star Trek shows, including his #1 favorite Prodigy. Seth MacFarlane gets Star Trek and gets the Next Generation. I wish he would have been handed the reins, honestly, of Star Trek back when he tried to get them. It's definitely a TNG clone, but it is.
No, it's just funny when you say it bluntly. It's just always funny.
Yeah. The storytelling is definitely reminiscent of TNG, as is the sets and the costumes, and it's just he understands what TNG was, and he definitely has gone and made his own thing, which is freaking great. So I just wish he would have been given the chance to do Star Trek. I think he would have done great stuff for it. He's very much a Dave Blass, Terry Matalas, and Mike McMahon and Aaron Waltke kind of guy. He's in that club as far as the love of the Trek and canon. So, yeah,
100%.
And we have a poll: is Star Trek the best sci-fi show franchise of all time? Yes, the best, or nope, there is better. Eric Martin throws in $30 for a full shot. Wow, my opinion: you guys aren't drinking enough. I have spoken. He's working on spreadsheets and working and listening to us, so we've got to help his time pass by. I will have a shot of Barcelona for that, sir.
Oh, it's so tart. Ugh. The thing about the Orville, though, is that how often do you think about the Orville episodes and they stand out in your brain versus how often does a Trek episode cross your mind or an event that you think about? It's not having the life after the fact that any of the Star Treks did, except Enterprise. That didn't really stick.
Because we've grown up with it, though. It's always been in our lives, the Star Trek thing. The Orville is new on the block, so it's not automatically for some.
But I still think about Stargate and Star Wars and BS, those things all pop to my brain. Orville, not as much. Yes, it's newer, but that also, if it doesn't stick out to me with a huge sci-fi backlog, why is it going to stick out to new people? Versus other shows that do. So I think it's less memorable. By the very nature of being sort of a clone, as you say, it's less memorable.
That's an interesting point, yeah. I need to go back and rewatch the Orville. I've gone back, I've started rewatching The Mandalorian. Almost done season 1 now.
See, that still stands out to me. I still remember season 1 distinctly. That was something different. Because it was different. And that's new. So, that to Orville, I mean, I like Orville a lot, but that one stands out a lot more to me. I mean, a lot less happens, so a lot of moments can stand out more. Because a lot less happens.
Yeah. In the Star Trek franchise, they hire real scientists to be consultants. Example, Dr. Aaron McDonald, astrophysicist and aerospace engineer. Yes, for most of the new Trek shows they do. I don't know if Discovery decided to hire anybody.
Yeah, they did.
Oh.
See, that's the problem, because this My Solar Network is a theoretical possibility. Tardigrades exist in reality. Doesn't mean they work well. But they obviously felt it's like they got a Klingon consultant, but they made them go like, it's Kalish. No. Just because the dictionary maybe technically says that, no one said it, so they are wrong. If they're right, they're wrong. So you're saying that, but doesn't mean it's doesn't necessarily.
It's interesting too, because I watched the Joe Rogan Experience with real Paul Stamets on, and it's fascinating stuff. It really is what mushrooms are capable of and what they can do. But I think that they expanded a little too far by going galactic wide or whatever. It's an interesting premise, and I love that the fact that Paul Stamets is named after the actual guy.
Yeah,
I think that's
pretty radical
touch as well. But I don't think he's working as a consultant necessarily on the show.
No, he wasn't. There were other people.
Yeah,
I don't mean him. I just mean they had someone sciencey on.
Yeah,
but obviously when Brian left, who's to say? Also, he was fired. Who's to say who stayed or left from that? Real science stuff's tricky. It sounds great, but then when one producer says, "Nah, I don't like that," and then the science works up to this point and it shifts radically, that all sort of ruins it. But also, I'm writing a short right now. I have to. It's filming this week, and I had to invent a new mineral because I need very specific metal properties. Just go with the name.
Titanium. Hardinium.
Shall I spoil what it's called? Let's see if you get it. You ready?
Very explosive nessium.
It's called beryllium.
Beryllium. The beryllium sphere from Galaxy Quest.
There you go. I thought it'd be funny. It just fit what I functionally need the thing to do. And boy, when you start inventing shit, it gets a lot easier to invent shit. Like, I'm getting so much better at names. Let me tell you what an alien race's name is that I invented earlier last week. I had to invent 3 in a row. Vamp. Hold on. I don't remember what it's called, so I've got to find it.
He's working on things. Guys, hit that like button. We have 37 people here with 30 likes.
So you got Gormaganders, obviously from Discovery, Rykelians, and Vutrashi. Obviously, Vutrash pronunciation, but there you go. Rykelians and Vutrashi.
Rykelians, I like that. Yeah. Riker. It's all Riker's offspring.
Oh God.
The Rykelians.
not with the story I've got. No.
Sergeant Montgomery, $10. Mutter's Milk from Firefly, Aldebaran Whiskey, Romulan Ale from Trek, Ambrosia from Battlestar Galactica, and some sci-fi drinks either of you have tried, and what are your favorites?
Oh my God.
I've never tried any of those, honestly. I love the thought of Romulan Ale. I want to try Aldebaran Whiskey. Holy Christ. If I could speak.
Aldebaran.
Yeah. Ambrosia sounds really good. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, I know there are technically recipes that exist, but
yes,
these aren't using the science fiction-y, future-y things involved in brewing. So I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how many cans they say Romulan Ale on. It's not even remotely going to be as specific. So you know. Although it's funny, I had one I was thinking of. Yeah, you're my ale guy. Because it's funny, I've done a few films where I give them Romulan ale, and it's funny to direct what it is and what it does, because it's very. There's a certain oomph with Romulan ale. It's hard to describe, but you've got to describe it and have them act it. Yeah.
Sure. You're instantly drunk as soon as it touches your tongue. Essentially, it's in your blood system.
Yeah.
That's why it's illegal. It's
Yes.
true. Starship USS Tiho, £10. Thank you so much.
Back to this cup again.
Trekyards, this is Starship Tiho requesting permission to dock. Permission granted.
Although we're not
Welcome
at
aboard.
Starbase, so are you docking with our ship? I guess.
Nobody docking back there. Eric Martin says, I like mushrooms, but the Last of Us series is creeping me out. Yeah. It's a pretty good premise for zombies, honestly. Taking my half shot of each Crown Royal. Ooh, mixing Di Serrano on each Crown Royal is interesting. Chuck A, TNG Fanatic, $5. Thank you so much. I've talked to over 50 Star Trek actors at conventions over the years, including Captain Foley. And I was the most charming and handsome of all of them, correct? Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Colin Sommers says, what about Space Above and Beyond? You can answer this one better, but cheers.
I mean, I've never seen it. As with so many things, just living the moment's hard enough. When do you ever in real life say, oh, let me go back and watch a 20-year-old show that, you know, it's a weird vibe, you know, and I spend most of my time, my free time, my designated other time on my own project. So I watch very little television. For the most part, it's watching the new Trek shows. Music's great, though.
Colin Sumner says, I heard that Scott Bakula likes to come back to Star Trek. Yes, I read that interview as well. I would love that. I would love for him to come back.
I mean, you say that, but it feels the same as saying that William Shatner said he doesn't want to come back to Kirk, and then a few years later he does. He doesn't. He does. They're actors. Brent said he'd never play an android again. He's an android again. The fact is, they're actors, and many. I mean, it's like literally twice, James Bond down Craig says he's done. They just upped his fee. That's it. You know, every actor has a price, so any single Trek actor would come back if you paid them enough. And that's fine, because especially if that's what you're known for, the easiest paycheck in the world is they're throwing money at me to do something I've did for 10 years. I know how to do it effortlessly. And I'm not the star of the show either, so I can just come in for 4 days and I get, $80,000 for 2 days of work, and that pays for my car, my insurance, my, it would be rare for someone to say no. That said, I was scrolling yesterday and I saw, I'm not a big Power Rangers fan, but the Pink Ranger for the original show decided not to return, and she had to put a whole statement out on social media saying, I didn't say no, I just didn't say yes to returning. So there is ways of saying no to returning. Like Spock and Nimoy and didn't have Generations. If the role's not good enough. But they weren't going to offer them twice the money. If they did, they might have said yes. But they were only cameos, good cameos. If Nimoy was offered 3 times money, he would have said, well, fuck it. Okay. I'll please write it better.
Years for a day.
Yeah, literally 1 day. So there's lines in the sand. And I saw an interview with Michael Dorn. He said he didn't want to do DS9. Not unless it's this much money. And then the show, he was going to walk away, and they came back and said, fine. Simplifying the story, obviously, but, he didn't want to do the hours of makeup, but if the money's okay enough, it's sort of worth the pain, etc. So it's a broad spectrum.
Yeah. Yes. Matthew DeFriedis, $5.
Thank you.
Y'all should do a deal with the Star Trek Wines and Spirits Company where they send you free booze to drink to promote it every Drunkyards. That'd be great. But the problem is I live in Canada and they won't ship it over the border because of customs fees and taxes and all that shit. So I can't get it here. So, I mean, if there's coming directly from them, maybe they could find a way to do it, but
Probably.
That'd be something in it for them, and our viewership doesn't warrant that. I don't think so.
I mean,
that's a great idea.
I mean,
I'll reach out to them and chat.
The easy option, Stuart. Why don't they just beam it to you?
Dun dun dun. My transporter's on the fritz.
No, theirs, Stuart. They beam it to you. They're a giant company. Of course they have one.
But we're only in the early stages of transporters. I have to have a pad on my end that works. Mine is out of commission. I know. I'll get it fixed. I need to buy the part. It's only $10, but I'm cheap.
It's not on Prime, so you don't want to wait the week.
Yeah. I don't want to drive the transporter store.
It's 10 minutes further than you like to go. And remember, guys, for $50, I will swap uniforms. Remember, that is the option, but it's up to you.
And for $200, you'll swap uniforms on camera.
So anyway, now if you subdivided Trek
math, I can't do
into its parts, so is TOS the best sci-fi show of all time? Is TNG? Is DS9? Is Voyager? Is Enterprise? Or is it the amalgam of the shows, which is, like I said earlier, a bit unfair because then 700 episodes versus like 11 for Firefly.
It's very much the amalgam of them. However, if you did have to subdivide it and pick the best Star Trek show, and I circle right back to your point that you made however many lives ago when we talked about this, the best of the Star Trek shows for the heart and soul that is Star Trek is TNG, hands down. TOS just didn't have enough time to really get into everything that they could have. TNG is like that perfect balance of storytelling, characters, length of amount of episodes, everything about it is just, it's the epitome, the heart and soul of what Star Trek is TNG, all combined into one show. DS9 takes the darker aspects of that. Voyager takes the more exploratory aspects of that.
The classic aspect.
Yeah, and all the other shows kind of do the same thing. They all take like an element or two. TNG, I think, encapsulates what very essence of what Star Trek is. So I don't know if that answered your question. Probably not.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, yeah, TNG is the only show that had Gene's vision play through. And so
say that, but he was out of the picture in like season 2.
Yes, but he invented all the characters, the sets. Like it's like Brian Fuller. His vision, even though he left, everything he set up continued. Like you can't change Michael Burnham that much.
Except for the storyline.
But Gene didn't do all the stories. So the sets, the costumes, the vibe, the characters, the actors he picked, that was all Gene. So his imprint is right there, right? It's like George Lucas. His last show was Clone Wars, and they keep that very strong because it was the last, like Ahsoka was the last new character he invented, like fresh. It's a big deal, right? So TNG is very much a everything. It has all the newer aspects, all the classic aspects, all mixed together, and it's nice not to have interpersonal problems. I know it limits drama, but they also managed it in TNG. Like you say, you need drama, but TNG is a great show. They don't need to have Beverly bitching at Troy about Worf, who then goes to Riker to bit. It doesn't need to be 90210, right? You don't need that. So it's you don't necessarily need that. It's nice to have a show where people are positive and going forward and being professional, and they might find their off days, but we see them on the days where they're doing their jobs properly. Adventuring.
Mr. Kreenan says you should run live play Star Trek TTRPG with the other Star Trek YouTubers on a monthly basis. What is a TTRPG?
I assume a Trek RPG, like adventures. Yeah.
We don't have the time for that, but
yeah,
it would be interesting.
I mean, it'd be very fun, interesting, but then if we get too busy, we'd miss one. You'd lose momentum.
There would be too many debates going on if we're playing with other Trek YouTubers. Yeah. I want my character to do this. Well, their character wouldn't do that because that thing, blah, 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 blah. No, but this instant, in this episode, it would be just a whole friggin' thing arguing.
Because we all know it alls. Because there's one of... I was talked into trying to do a Star Wars one once, and then the lady was talking about what it is, and they said, well, what do you want to be? Because they said, I remember, You could be anyone you want in the Star Wars universe. It's really anything. Great. I said, okay, I want to be a mid, light, and dark Jedi, this, and this. She said, oh, no, you can't do that. I'm like, why not? I was writing the rule book. You just said, so you're limiting my creativity instantly to a set of characters. Then it's just a video game with dice or whatever. Like, the whole point of it was to be whatever you wanted and then move the story forward. But don't say that and take it back, right? So I would then think of really creative solutions, like, use a quantum entanglement field from the warp cells, and then say, you can't do that. Like, well, you can. It was in season 4, episode 6. No, you can't. Yeah. But you can do it. Like, you're stopping me from doing the reality by, you know what I mean? Like, those things are hard for me because I'm that creative. Luckily, my fan films will do what the hell I want. So, yeah. So I agree. Just that was a Star Wars story I rated.
Christopher Beatty throws in $10.
TNG
is only good because it went long. Season 1 was facepalm worthy in many ways. The costumes, the skank. Das Ex Machina was in every early episode. Not true. You're looking at season 1 with the filter that you haven't watched it in a while. We went back and rewatched it, and a lot of those episodes are great. Some are good. Some are not that great. So it's not as bad as everybody remembers. And yes, the evolution of it, and it's still great because it had so long a time to marinate. That's what makes it good. It found itself.
And also, it's funny you say costumes. I mean, everything's in the eye of the beholder. I film with season 1 costumes, and people can make them look good. Everyone poo-poos them, and no one does them in fan films. But I think you'd agree. You've seen some shots, Stuart, and you can look pretty decent in season 1 costumes. They're not innately bad. They're just not as good as the other ones. And and not everyone has the neck for a season 1 costume. I mean, let me show you a picture of somebody in a costume. And and the stories are also in contrast. How many other shows at the time were doing crap stories? Because they whatever. Yeah, TNG is just difficult. It's a show where it can be AAA. So when it gets a D, which is still a pass in some schools, or a C-, as we said, our biggest single takeaway was the characters are shockingly there. From like episode 2. Obscenely there. And given they based them off the early performances, you can't say we're perceiving what isn't really there, because they evolved into this. But if they glimpsed there early on, and they're still like bloody LaForge was frickin' day 1, LeVar was there. Crazy. And
those rose-colored glasses of Picard was a grumpy old man in season 1.
He really isn't.
He isn't. He's Picard from the beginning.
Yeah.
We were actually surprised on our watch
shocked.
through.
No, we were shocked, Stuart. It was.
Yeah, of how much he wasn't a grumpy old man, and all people would say about Picard is he was grumpy and irritable in season 1.
Grumpy
and
scenes,
sure,
yes.
Patrick Stewart might have been a little bit because he didn't think it would last. He, didn't think everybody was taking it seriously.
Yeah.
He was, a real actor.
I'm
but
an
he
actor,
quickly,
darling, yes.
But it doesn't show in his performance. Picard is Picard from day 1. So,
gosh, I'm trying not to find a spoiler image.
JB throws in $60.
Oh my god! Now, can I assume that you'll be happy with me going to TNG season 1 costume? I feel like I should prove the point. If I unearth it somewhere. Okay, not the best example, but does this lady look bad in season 1 costume?
That way, lady wouldn't look bad in much, I don't think. I think she'd look better out of the costume. Is that wrong to say?
Probably, but like not innately bad. It's like I've grown to quite like
better in a later season costume. But I see what you're trying to prove.
But Mr. McKinn says he gave condescending speeches and commands rather than being a Picardian leader. You got to remember, he was new to Enterprise D, didn't know the people, so he was acting as a commanding officer without the friendship aspect. That would be for any situation. I mean, bloody Janeway, first season, similar. By season 7, she's like, Chakotay, come here, rub my feet. What? Joking? Ha! Got you. Everyone's chill. That's called development. That's called evolution. Because unlike... No, I don't know all the shows, I guess, would... No, like TOS. Every show was... You're meeting them. You're learning with them. You're growing with them, right?
Yeah, New Yorker and Vegas is a good point. I think because so many only rewatch Encounter at Farpoint season
Yes.
1. Picard cutting crew members off and
Yes.
saying, "Shut up, shut the damn thing off." They think that's who he is. It's not.
Yes. And Farpoint
It's
is
always-
definitely one of the weakest. We saw that. Definitely
Yeah.
one of the weakest. But that's, and I if I was rewatching, I would be like that. I mean, Code of Honor's right at the start. Like the first 5 don't make you want to continue, but there's so many solid episodes. It's shocking how many solid.
Yes.
All right, let me go find my season 1 uniform. Great.
I guess he's not having a shot. He's going to change instead.
I did. Oh, fuck yeah, Drake again then. Jesus. Drake, as soon as I saw it, Stuart. My God.
They didn't pay you $50 to change your uniform.
Well, yeah, but it's talking about it. Because then it encourages you to change uniform, and then we get $51. I mean, it's good.
I'm not changing my uniform. I never agreed to this.
I mean, it's the standard rules, Stuart, and they rule our lives, Stuart. We are at the mercy of these lovely, kind
for
people.
drinking, yes. It's like the Drunkyards. It's not a change uniform.
Fine, for $100, he'll change uniforms.
No, I won't. 200, we got a deal.
Yeah, but then you got to bring nips out. Then they got to get the extra something. All right, back in a minute.
Guys, hit that like button. 46 of you here, 43 likes. That's awesome. I want to get 7 more likes. I want to get to 50 likes. I think we can do that. We got 1 new member during this live stream so far, which is amazing. So if you haven't joined the channel, what's wrong? Go check it out. Check the join button. See if you want to help us on a monthly basis. And also, don't forget that we have a poll. Is Star Trek the best sci-fi show or franchise of all time? Yes, the best, or nope, there is better. Go vote on that. We have 63 votes right now. Let's get to over 100 for that. And yeah, Samuel is gone. Yes, this is now the time to talk about him, even though he's probably watching and listening on his phone as he changes, because this is the way. This is what he does. And that's fine. It can't talk about him too bad. Yeah. Technically, it says change costume, not uniform. I'm sure you have dozens of Trekyard shirts, Captain. That's true. That is true. That's a good point, but I don't. It's still. It's a hat. Oh, here he comes. He heard us talking about him. I know what's going on. The show doesn't really hit its stride until season 3, but interesting is the progression through on it too. Yes, absolutely, Matt. And Matt Boardman has gifted 5 Trekyards memberships. Join the channel. Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. So 5 new members are Sean O'Sullivan, Eric Martin, again, has been gifted another membership, Alex Graham, David Schaub, Radio, and yeah, so you guys all welcome to the channel. That is 6 new members. That's amazing. Good number to see pop up. E.R. Mixon's craziest theories says Star Trek is both the best and the worst of all time. Just depends on the series, film, episode in question. But its highs are balanced by some of its ridiculous lows. Its highs aren't balanced by the lows. Or the lows aren't balanced by the highs. There's way more above 80% of Star Trek than there is below 20% of Star Trek. So there's no balancing at all there. Those ones are just like one-off misses for the bad ones. Bill Barkley, is it true Star Trek 4 movie is going ahead? Maybe someday. Maybe someday. I'll believe it when I'm sitting in the theater with popcorn. Peter Kako, $10. According to Rotten Tomatoes, top 100 best sci-fi show of all time. TNG rings in at number 4, and BSG is number 1. Figure that out. That's some bullshit. That's what that is. That's some bullshit. Ah, see, it's another starship coming in. USS Foley with the USS Okie Foley. That's a good poll idea. New Yorker and Vegas, new poll. Which will we see first, Trek 4 or Section 31? That's a good poll question.
Look, Stuart, you can see my neck now.
Yes, with no rank. Good
No.
job.
See? How's that look?
Looks good.
Isn't it a bit surreal though? Like I'm looking at myself, like, oh, I'm in uniform. It's so weird, but so normal, but so weird. This is the great thing about fan films. I don't get to be in uniform much, but the occasional be in uniform. Because I mean, boy, I used to go to conventions quite a lot. Never now. Pandemics, man, they do that too.
Peter says, according to Rotten Tomatoes, top 100 best sci-fi show of all time.
Okay.
TNG rings in at number 4.
Okay.
BSG is number 1.
Okay.
Figure that out.
What's 2, 3, and 5? So I'm guessing X-Files have to be on there just because the...
So would Stargate. It would have to be.
Yeah. The thing is, BSG is hard because BSG is so much packed quality in seasons 1, 2, and 3. Like so much, where each of the 22 is almost each of those is really like gold, like B plus A. So that metric percent is like Stargate, same thing. Percentage of good episodes, like changes a lot more medium episodes, but has 3 more seasons. It's it's like in theory, Stranger Worlds. If you look at ratios, if 2 seasons, 20 episodes, if 11 are fantastic. 50% is fantastic. The ratio is the best reviewed because it's only got 20, right? So those things can skew.
Tangerine Star 26, member for 28 months at the rank of commander. Says 58 years of continuity and drama. Star Trek impact is incredible.
Yes.
Squadron Course throws in $10.
Thank you.
Trek has many great things. Interesting worlds, cultures, consistent tech and ships, and diverse crews working together. But the best thing about Trek, in my honest opinion, is Trekyards.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, he doesn't say that. He said,
because that was quite a twist at the end.
Is that it is hopeful about our future. And Trekyards. Yes, we're the best thing to come out of Star Trek. I'm just kidding.
I mean, Doug said that earlier today. He was like, you know what? My 50-year career, best things you guys. And yes, Gorgonzola, yes it is.
Yeah, we're getting a whole chapter in Doug's memoirs dedicated to Trekyards.
How my second life really began. The Trekyards era.
I was so honored to be on it.
Yeah.
Peter Lukaku, $5. X-Files was number 3.
There you go. And that also speaks to BSG is such condensed quality, and also the visual effects were such a high bar at the time, and it still holds up today, so that really helps. X-Files was such diverse stories, which obviously helps. Yeah. Such a broadening. It's like police procedurals. They're also a boring style show because they're in the same place, but then you're forced to come up with really creative things. You know, like Castle, they have magicians, they have time travelers, they have all these weird variety of things happen that actually make it very varied. Even though the format is this razor thin, it becomes giant because they stay still, etc.
And Squadron Course throws in another $2 and says ... and Trekyards.
And Trekyards.
Thank you, Squadron Course.
But it is, you know, what other shows have the length, breadth, girth, throbbing nature that is Star Trek? For Star Trek, yes. I mean, there's so much Star Trek out there. And Doctor Who is probably the best example to counter for Star Trek, obviously. And that... I was trying to think, how long was Trek off the air? 04 to 09, I guess?
Oh, and did what? Okay.
Yeah, I guess 04 to 09. Yeah.
Yeah, don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And Doctor Who was like the 70s to the 2010s. So that was a long old 80s. So that had a long gap. I was trying to think how many years was the show on the air consistently. Because, you know, Doctor Who didn't stop from the 60s to the 80s. It's a long time. But TNG to Enterprise.
New York and Vegas is 2005 to 2017. No, well,
Movies.
2000.
The franchise being alive.
Yeah.
Well, I guess prime canon, but Spock existed, so.
Colin Summers, welcome to the rank of commander. We got another member of the
Wait,
channel. That's
well.
7 new members to the channel.
I missed 5.
Well, Matt Boardman gifted 5.
Oh, nice. Oh, Ozzy, yes, I have lost the corn.
Go eat some corn.
Oh, there's a pip. Yeah. But then, yeah, if you subdivide each show, Enterprise, is that one of the best sci-fi shows ever made?
No.
Voyager?
No.
TOS?
Yes.
TNG?
Yes.
DS9?
Yes.
Prodigy?
No.
Although when you add best sci-fi kid shows, it might be higher in the rank.
Yeah, if you do that,
Different
yes,
rank.
but yeah. The only reason Prodigy's great is because it's linked to Star Trek.
Yeah,
Really?
Kobayashi wouldn't work without all of Star Trek. It'd be so random.
Yeah. Neither would the final 2 episodes with the battle. Really. You wouldn't care as much.
But Merlos has a great point. Oh, hey, Planex. Merlos has a great point. What about shows like Avenue 5 or Orville? They cast up to things, the giants of lore that is the Trekverse. Definitely a problem, but it's like, if you administer it, so let's invent a drink, right? We're going to be fighting Coca-Cola. There are behemoths that will never be toppled because they've built a legacy in all forms of media. So that just is. So I don't necessarily call that a problem. Orville stood out in its own way. BSG certainly stood out, the new one, in its own way. Like, Expanse, obviously, you know. It's like Game of Thrones. When that came out, I remember people saying, do we want another fantasy show? We've had so many movies. I was like, well, it is that, but it's really not that. And then it won its own merit, you know. But, yeah.
Oh, Bill the Expanse was a great show. I really enjoyed it, but just doesn't have the history in it. So, that's the thing too. When Star Trek TOS first came out, it was like nothing that had ever been seen before. It was like high production values, not like Lost in Space or anything like that at the time. No, it was very much a standout kind of show. So it was the best thing sci-fi wise on TV, hands down.
And it was not
Nothing to compare
cheap.
to it.
It was not low budget. It was not wood sets. All sets are made out of wood. You know that Stargazer? It's made out of wood. Painted to look like metal, right?
Yeah.
Most sets aren't not wood because it's the only way you can build them practically, or resin even. You know, so being wood is not a problem. I mean, you've seen Stargate Universe at this point. Did you ever watch Universe?
No, I have not yet.
Have you ever seen the sets? The grungy, dirty, horrible.
Yes. Yeah.
It's wood, painted wood. It looks fucking like metal. Are you joking? It's wood. It's called. Yeah. You know those Kazon. No, you know those Hirogen. That's not skin. Looks like skin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where was that coming? Oh, what about Futurama? It's totally its own thing. It's sci-fi, but it's parody-styled sci-fi. And Futurama's great.
Man, that's an interesting curveball.
It is.
Because that was so freaking good at the time. But
Yes.
when do you ever think about Futurama now? It hasn't had the
time.
Do you?
Give me the shut up and give me your money.
Hookers and blackjacks, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't find myself thinking about it, which is odd. Because it was so good. I love watching it every week. Every time it got cancelled and we brought back, freaking excited. The third reboot of it. I mean, no show has had 5 cancellations and bringbacks. That's, I mean, and the never cancelled is not good. That's the thing about Futurama. It's never not good. It can be okay, but it's never not, like, in the okay to good. Yeah, no, definitely Futurama is really, because that's very watchable, very bingeable, great characters, great story, super creative. It did a lot more than Star Trek did because they could show anything, you know. I mean, to have an episode of Futurama, spoilers, where they're eating popcorn chicken, turns out they're babies from another planet.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's an incredible sci-fi concept that you couldn't do practically. The sense wouldn't allow it. Like it's that is next level Gene Roddenberry shit, right? But with a spin of like, wow. So that did stuff that's insane, in a good way. But I don't think about it much. Man, yeah, Futurama.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can buy Futurama on Blu-ray. I don't think I can, but.
Eric Martin throws in $10.
Oh,
Got 2 spreadsheets done. You 2 look thirsty.
Why that made me laugh, but it did.
Parched my throat.
Oh, I laugh. Yes.
Pizza Rona or Peach Crown Rona? What should I choose?
Peach Royal.
Yeah. Made that easy.
Squadron Course. Futurama has too many magic or magical moments for me to think of it as being hard sci-fi. Love it, but it's close to fantasy for me. I wouldn't say it's fantasy by any means, but most things aren't hard sci-fi. Like Stargate isn't hard sci-fi so much as just real life with sci-fi in it. You know? For me.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's why it's so grounded. Because Futurama is grounded in the future. 3,000 years where everything can happen. So even, like, there's an episode about ghosts, right? Where they're robot ghosts. But they aren't robot ghosts. They're robots that have died, and their memories are transferred to a wireless box, and they're haunting as projections, holograph projections. Like, even the magic is tech. It's just so advanced that it feels like super ridiculous, but it's because the tech is so obscenely ridiculous. Like I you know, what's a hypnotoad? I don't know. It's a toad that makes it. It's mad. It's not magic, but it's just, you know. Yeah. See, I don't think it's more sci-fi fantasy. I don't know what is a sci-fi fantasy to you, Stuart.
Sci-fi fantasy.
Where's the line of sci-fi fantasy to sci-fi fiction? Science fiction. Where's that line?
Between science fiction and fantasy. Oh my god. That's a good question.
It's a really good question.
I'm thinking of the book series Dragon Riders of Burn. What? Oh.
Our overlords have spoken.
They have. Enjoy this ad, everybody.
Sorry,
they have been appeased.
Go.
I'm thinking of the Dragon Riders of Burn series. You think of that, you think it's a fantasy story. Looking at the covers, people riding dragons. It's actually a sci-fi story that they went and colonized this planet. They needed to ride the dragons to shoot the thread, which fell from the one star, the thing in the orc cloud that they passed through the planet. And so after centuries of time, they've forgotten about their original arrival on the planet, and now it's kind of like fantasy based. It's a beautiful mix of fantasy and sci-fi. I don't know what shows though. I'm trying to think of something show-wise that comes close to that. There is a D&D game we're playing right now, where you're actually on wooden sailing ships that have bubbles of air around them, and you can go from planet to planet. There's like some, fanciful creatures and stuff there. But
well, in the chat right now, what's a science fantasy show, not science fiction? That line, because Star Wars is the classic example. Because how do things work doesn't matter, move on. And obviously the idea of the original Star Wars being the damsel in distress, knights in armor, etc. Although Mandalorian it's a sci-fi western. It's very specific. Yes. There's very little fantasy, but it's still a Star Wars brand. The Boba Fett is clearly Star Wars is sci-fi gangster, and/or is sci-fi espionage. Like, they're all quite specific in their vibe. So what is a sci-fi fantasy right now? Because I'm struggling to think of a TV show that would class as sci-fi fantasy.
Merlos says Dune.
Yes, I would agree, but it's not. Well, there is a TV show. I would call it sci-fi fantasy, yes, but I'm not sure.
I'd call it more sci-fi still.
But if I'm having to pick though, because how does the tech work? I don't know. Like spaceship, like that thing with the a spice makes them be able to make inter-universal bridges. Okay, like it's. I would agree that would be more so, but it's still sci-fi. If I'm being told to. Willow, but Willow's just fantasy. Where's the sci-fi?
It's just fantasy.
Yeah.
No sci-fi. Peter Lukaku, $10.
Cool.
Hey guys, did either of you get into Gene's other shows like Andromeda and Earth Final Conflict? Yeah.
Yep, both. Yeah, I really enjoy both. Andromeda, I think, is a funny old one. I talked to Kevin Sorbo once about this. The one time I got to meet him, I'm really happy I did. Season 1, pretty good. Season 2, pretty good. Season 3, great. Season 4, great. Season 5, dumpster fire. And I talked to him and said, what happened? And literally, because I was signing loads of things for Trekyards, and he stopped. He's like, well, whole story on that. It was none of their faults, like the team, and none of them liked it, and they wanted a movie, and he would like another one to say sorry to the fans. He knows it's a bad season. He knows it shouldn't have been made like that. But all of the reasons under the sun. Real shame on that one. And Earthfall Conflict, I really like the premise. I love the designs. I wish I was a kid and never in the right order. Great music. Really good music. I love the travel pod concept of the main ship. Yeah, I mean, the first season I like.
Squadra Course throws in $5. It says,
good luck on the move.
For me, the thing that separates sci-fi from sci-fi fantasy, or from sci-fi fantasy, is that the tech in sci-fi is important to the story.
Okay.
Well explained. Makes sense and is believable.
Okay. Well, believable's a stretch, because anything's believable if it's in the future. Right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so by that logic, Earthfall Conflict, I guess, is sci-fi fantasy, because they're aliens that can metamorphose the ships a bit. Okay.
Ooh. Omnitographer says For All Mankind is also top. Sci-fi. That's fucking great.
Oh, Sergeant Montgomery, enjoy. Okay, so what
is Lex sci-fi?
I haven't seen Lex.
Lex is, it's kind of softcore. Yeah.
So a pet peeve of mine, and I think you know this, is sci-fi and fantasy is one genre. So technically, Lord of the Rings is sci-fi. It's not, though, in any way. For me.
I don't think Lord of the Rings is at all sci-fi.
But that's the category, sci-fi and fantasy. Like, that's the...
Oh, yeah, they're always grouped together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In anything. And it's like, they're totally different and is no way sci-fi, and Trek is no way fantasy, but they're grouped together. No, they're... pisses me off, because it classes as also a sci-fi. And like anything with tech in it is therefore a science fiction show. It's like, well, not necessarily. It's like, Terminator is science fiction, but like so little of it is science fiction in a sense, you know? Like when the other genre involved takes over 90% of the content, you know? Is that the thing? Okay. All right, Stuart. Since you had a pause there, I've been told that my father, you know him, has been binge watching Star Trek Voyager, and this topic is of course best sci-fi, but he would like to throw out some thoughts on the best sci-fi with a caveat to Voyager being possibly one of the best Star Treks. I know. So he's going to join us right now. Well, I remember to find... Go!
I have to push by the chair and...
That's fine. Find the splitter. You look at the thing in.
I just use the one.
There is only one. So I find the splitter. Aha, there's a splitter. Where's the second pair of headphones?
Hello.
Hiya.
Welcome.
Sorry I'm a bit late. I had to take a sonic shower. I've just had a wrestling match with a Gorn.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
Glad you came out on top.
I lost a bet, so I had to have to go head to head.
Well, you're in the future, Stuart, Dad, because look, I'm in uniform.
Very nice.
Yes.
So how's it going?
Good. Yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Good. So you've been busy, doing lots of things.
Lots of things. It's funny because I am temporarily dyslexic, so I am all different places at different times, and people can't keep track of where and when I am. So a lot of people think I'm in America at the moment, and I was 9 years ago.
I do that too. I share memories.
Yeah.
Are you traveling?
So people have been saying, let's meet up. I said, yes, if you want to meet up 9 years ago. Warm up your TARDIS and join me. But yes, I have been binge watching Voyager. I don't know why I didn't go back to the series for some time, but I was looking for content to keep me relaxed at the end of the day. And I didn't realise how good it was.
Don't do the full debate yet, because I want
Voyager's great. Voyager gets a bad rap from people, and I don't know why. It's good.
I think I'm coming to it, obviously, with 20 years more experience. And I now really regret not having made more of an effort to meet the cast. I've met the cast, but I mean, it's
to not hear them for a second.
Harry Kim probably is the only one I'm in more regular contact with.
So you got
He's
full
the lowest
extensions
ranked.
with me.
Yeah, so I can use both, can I now?
Yeah.
I have stereo.
Well, I'll grab these because these are the ones I use. Oop. There you go. We actually have right, scoot that way. So
Before we move into this, Peter
this
the
is like a
Calico throws
TARDIS
in
in
$20.
reverse. It's smaller on the
Drink
inside
up.
than it is on the outside.
Says, drink up, boys. Samuel might know this one. Your thoughts on Red Dwarf? I love Red Dwarf. Why would Samuel know this one? What the hell is that?
because of my
If you don't know what a smeghead is, chances are you are one.
No, Stuart, you're a schmeekid.
Schmeekid.
Anyway, I'm going to have a shot for that.
Red Dwarf, fantastic. I'm still pissed off to this day. They paused the renew seasons because of contractual issues. Annoying.
This is a drinking one, is it?
Yes. Well, we're trying to raise some funds, Dad, because the month's been pretty terrible because Christmas. So you guys helping us out.
Yeah, we had in Britain we've had like a mini pandemic of flu and
Oh, my
just a very persistent cold going around. Everyone's come down with it, so it was a bit of a
Same here.
I mean, it's shocking.
spread around the globe.
It spread further and faster than COVID, for sure. Because everybody we know had it.
Yeah.
Everybody. I don't know a single person, pretty much. And we got
Squad,
COVID as
of
well.
course.
So, yeah.
$2. Whoop for the ambassador. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
My pleasure.
So yeah, Voyager. Now, you know I like Voyager, Stuart and Dad, because ships, the tech, the makeup. That's why I'm sure you remember when we finally met Michael Westmore, I was a bit more giddy than you were. I don't know. I know you were as well, but I was a bit more.
I was giddy.
But I was like, oh, this is great. I'd love to meet him. And you got a bloody book from him. You got a really signed book. I'm so jealous of that. Okay, Dad, so you're going to... So Voyager, where does it stand now? What are your retrospective thoughts? And what... Oh, Father, really. And what do you guys think about Voyager? In the chat right now, put us... Do you like it? Love it? Meh?
Put in.
That's fine. Okay, go, Dad.
I think it actually benefits from watching it 1 or 2
20
episodes a
later.
day,
Oh.
because then you get a greater sense of the consistency of the series. And although it is episodic, there is obviously this very driving arc of getting back to Earth, which makes the thing hang together. And if you want to serve on a starship and get a real sense of camaraderie, the intimacy and just the relationships on this series feels more like what it would be on that type of ship. If you want to get the closest to actually being realistically on a starship.
Which is funny, because people would always argue that DS9 had a much better character relationships.
Well, I'm going to have to watch the whole of DS9 from start to finish to see. I'm going to have to watch them all from start to finish, binge them all to be able to make this assessment. But
Oh no, what a shame.
from watching of Voyager, I don't think there was a really bad episode. I mean, other Trek series have had bad episodes, but Voyager doesn't really have a bad episode. They're either good or they're above good. What I would say is they don't have so many outstanding episodes, but the consistency from episode to episode, and the writing, the dialogue, how they work through situations with convincing language, because they get themselves into quite complicated diplomatic and all sorts of situations. And Janeway's micro expressions as an actress, I mean, my admiration for her has increased. So when I next see her,
I was going to say, some people, the chat's going to start filling up with the word threshold. And you said there are no bad episodes. I didn't
say really bad episodes.
I know. I like Threshold. I like the first like 3/4 of it.
This is the Space Salamander. We had this debate yesterday, Stuart.
The first 3/4 of it are great. It's a good episode. It's a good premise.
Duncan McNeil, I mean, he is earning his money that week.
Okay, so they're going to say Threshold. Name some more then that are bad. Can they name more that are bad?
Because obviously...
I hate Workforce, but that's just because Stargate did it much
You haven't got there yet.
I haven't got that one yet.
I mean, you've got Alan Moraine, DS9, terrible episode. You've got the Candle on TNG. You've got Threshold. There is one standout joke bad episode of each season, right? Yeah. And I think Threshold's better than Alan Moraine, and probably better than Candle. I don't remember.
What you're saying is the payoff of Threshold doesn't live up to what the build-up.
Well, it's more that it's ridiculous. You can undo a Warp 10 Salamander effect in half an hour without any concern.
I like the fact that they had children, though. That was kind of funny.
That's also the problem. They never talk about the fact they had babies. Space future babies. That's more the problem. It didn't have any impact on anything, despite being
it's going to be huge. It's kind of heretical for me to say, but probably I'm going to rank Voyager higher than TOS now in my life.
Okay, pause.
I like TOS.
No. First reaction. Let him breathe.
See, DS9, if you want to go, like, DS9 is my favorite Trek series, but TOS is always going to be grandfathered in as my favorite, no matter what I say. Other than that, TOS is what started it all. You can't get much better than what started this whole thing.
No, I like the characterizations, I like the sets, I like the stories, but in terms of the overall quality of it, it's almost with some reluctance. I have to say, I want to have the sense I'm serving on a real starship, and even TNG has some cartoony bits to it where they're all a bit standoffish and there's so much space. Mm-hmm. I mean, not that it counts, but the way Janeway actually interacts with the crew, she's much more intimate with the crew. She actually puts her hands on their arms, on their shoulders.
Well, it's only like 150 person crew versus.
Yeah, it's much more.
I mean, she knows everybody's first name, surname, life story,
and they're very, very proficient at what they do.
Well, they have to be. It's a high-end ship. So a couple of comments, Stuart, and this one surprised me. Method of Frida's Tuvix is bad.
Tuvix is not bad. It's a fantastic episode. Great acting.
You just watched Tuvix.
Great actor.
Well, some series ago, yeah, it's very good.
You only watched it last week. I saw you.
The moral dilemma is fantastically played out.
Oh, I watched it.
But yeah, hashtag Janeway did nothing wrong with her decision. Sorry, but there's no other answer than what
if everyone can accept Cisco bioweaponing a planet and mass murdering people if it gone through versus I saved 2 officers by killing one who wasn't real until last week. Sorry, Cisco genocided. Yeah, thanks.
There was ways around it though. You could get genetic material from Tuvix, reconstitute them at some point in the future.
Well, it's funny because B'Elanna already had this happen. Yeah, B'Elanna was Klingon and
Yeah.
He also says, and you also watched it recently, the one where Harry gets hit by all the sticks, all the women. He was pretending thought he was an alien.
That's still quite a good premise.
It's a good premise.
They're good science fiction stories. They're looking at ideas.
It's very sci-fi driven, yeah.
And they're trying to.
And E.R. Mixon's, you're wrong. Course Oblivion was fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant.
That's one of the best of the series.
It's so heart wrenching. That crew, man. Oh, have you got to that yet?
Well, I'm in season 5 at the moment.
No, you haven't. Oh my god.
I've just finished the one with a space Nazi that Catherine Janeway likes her favourite episode because she gets to be very feminine.
They're called a space Nazi.
That's what they call them in the review.
Oh right, okay.
And the kiss between the two of them was really good. She really went for it.
I think Mulgrew wanted him back as well. I thought that was.
He was a very good character.
He was a very good character. Well, it's a bit weird because you think he might actually be good, but then he plays it so straight.
At the very end, I thought it was still part of the double cross. It was actually a triple cross.
I don't know.
But that could have done with a longer arc because he was so good. He would have been a great antagonist for 2 or 3 episodes, like going through.
And I know you obviously missed it, but that episode is super important because in Prodigy, the lady that rescues Janeway in Last Episode of Prodigy was one of the people that was saved, one of the kids from multiple people.
That was mentioned. I actually looked at the reviews of the article.
Just happened.
So I may change my opinion when I watch DSI, and I've always put off watching that because that was too militaristic for me and too dark. But no, it's just a pleasure to watch. A wonderful work of art. So far 5.5 seasons I'm in. I've been watching it for like 2 months. It's yeah. So what's going to happen, Stuart, is when I get to the end of season 7, I'm going to go back and start again and watch from season 1
Nice.
to get another take on it. And this time, my wife, Samuel's mother's, going to watch it with me because she's been popping in every now and then. I've been watching it late at night, and she comes in and then she gets stuck because she gets caught up with the story. So I thought, no, we'll watch the whole thing from start. I'm happy to do that. So it's not many series that I'd do that for. I can't think I'd do that for what's that series called that. Discovery.
Oh,
that's the thing.
I was joking. And
Do you know what? I haven't even
Joke
watched the last 2 or 3 episodes of
4.
Picard. Last 4 episodes of season 2 of Picard.
It's been a year.
I'm watching before Picard starts.
Yes,
I've been so unmotivated to watch it. So. But hopefully season 3 will deliver something.
Yeah, we were there, Stuart. Justice for Duquesne.
Yes.
Justice for motherfucking Duquesne.
We were there. We were there in the trenches and all that.
Every week, dodging bullets. Those fucking snipe war.
The last bit I saw was Jurati in a red dress, wandering off down the road.
That was middle.
That was a good place to end it, really.
Hate to see her leave, but love to watch her go.
So, Omnitographer has a comment I want you to respond to first. Thank you. Before I throw in my thing, could you read the second thing of what he says and respond to it directly? The idea, because I've got a pet peeve about this.
Voyager.
No.
Oh, the USS Voyager that reached there should have been heavily patched and modified compared to the ship that set out.
Thoughts, Stuart?
Ideally, that would have been great for the series. I know that Ron Moore wanted to do that. He made Battlestar Galactica as a result, but they have replicators. They can replicate the parts they need, and even if it's, I have no problem with the Voyager repairing itself. I mean, I hate that the following week, the next episode, it's perfectly fine again, because you would need time to repair some stuff. There should be ongoing repairs, but I have no problem with the ship actually getting fixed up.
That said, almost every episode there is something breaking down, and they're having to fix it. I'm aware of this. I'm seeing because I'm watching 2 or 3 episodes a day, and it's a constant thing. I'm surprised at how many times they've got engineering problems. And of course, the ship was quite heavily modified. It has all those Borg modifications, but they're hidden. Although there is some extra green on the outside, isn't there?
That was removed.
The Year of Hell was a pretty good. That could have gone for more than a 2-episode arc.
Yeah,
because you really did see what could happen when a ship is away from a star base, can't get repaired easily, and they're receiving more blows than they can fix.
Yeah, see, this is one of the pet peeves I have as a complaint, because Janeway is clearly trying to maintain Starfleet discipline to keep morale. She's not letting the crew devolve. So, as we've discussed all the time, Stuart, most of the time you're at warp. They're also trying to go home, so 9 times out of 10 hours in the day, or days in the week, they're at warp. All of the time they can be fixing stuff, because they haven't got much to do except keep the ship working. Regimented time, regimented services, all the stuff to keep the ship working. So, in between battles, to which there isn't that much damage external, remember, versus Kazon versus Hirogen, Voyager is more powerful than most of the ships. It's not taking that much damage in every given... Now, sometimes, yes, it is, but most of the time it's not. If there's 6 weeks between battles, Janeway's going to say, let's fix the ship, let's repaint it, let's get it back to where it should be, because she wants the ship to be working. She wants it to feel like a home, a safe place. Why the fuck would you say, there's a hull breach on deck 6, let's just leave it. Let's leave scoring for 2 years. You're going to fix it that week. You've got 25 engineers. They're not doing much each day. Fix it. I hate this argument. That is what you would do all the time. If you didn't have a job, you'd be fixing the house. Randomly, you just think, I repaint this week, just to make the house better. It's a stupid argument, because they are professionals with a ship that can do mostly anything. Why the fuck would they leave it damaged? Orville's different because the Krenim can go through shields. Every shot is massive damage, and it progresses if they can't repair it quick enough to damage, and they lose replicators early on. That's why it becomes too much. And always, every battle is not that. I hate that argument. It's a nonsensical
But it's a bit.
argument.
We had a documentary series that ran for several
Sorry,
episodes.
this is a pet peeve of mine.
Of the Ark Royal just before it got decommissioned, which was an aircraft carrier, and a lot of that was sailing between ports. So if this was a real documentary about a real starship, what the bits they're going to show you, are the bits they think are going to interest the audience. So they're going to show you the action shots. They're not going to show you the boring, as you said, we're going from A to B, nothing's happening. When we were in Ticonderoga, I had the chance to sit on the bridge for over 15 minutes just watching a star field go by. And it was only me on the bridge. And I thought, this is a pretty boring job most of the time.
It is.
When you're at warp, nothing's happening. How do you keep yourself entertained? So I was getting restless after 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So they don't show you all the boring stuff for repairs in between unless it's part of the drama.
Yeah. James McGill, though, throws in $2.
Thank you.
Got sci-fi fever, and the only cure is more Star Trek and Trekyards.
Ooh, Trekyards.
More cowbell.
But what do you think about my rant there, Stuart?
No, I totally agree with you, 100%. It's a place you have to live and work on a daily basis. You're going to want it to be at its best. And even me when I worked factory work or whatever, I'd always make sure my station was clean and tidy, and I don't want it to be a sloppy mess. So
if you've got a 7-hour duty shift, fix the whole on deck 3. You've got time.
Also, while I'm here, I'd like to congratulate you all on reaching 27 million views, which is pretty impressive.
Thank you.
It was actually a couple of days ago, but I've only.
So you're saying a Titan video pro got us past that metric?
Probably.
Excellent.
That seems quite timely.
Thank you.
Olivia Julius throws in $10.
Ah.
I have never said this before. Samuel drinks.
Never have. Always have. Always will. Do you want to try cranberry and gin?
I like gin.
It's tart.
I think I just prefer gin and tonic.
It's just no reaction. You can't taste the booze though, can you?
No, it's not enough gin in it.
There's a shot. Shot a bit.
Christopher Beatty says the problem with that is that the whole franchise is based on ships that need to go to star bases on a regular basis. It's something I can ignore, however. Yes, but it's for transferring of crew. It is for. Are you okay?
Yeah, that's a stupid comment.
It's for transferring of crew. It's for more operational stuff more than ship repairs. And Janeway makes stops occasionally to repair heavy damage anyway, or change out the warp coils. They got to land the ship, change out the warp coils, do what they need to do. So that's what a starbase would normally be for.
And they're always
the crew doing it, and that's starbase technicians are there for it. But
they're always sourcing materials from deuterium and all sorts of alloys and things like that, and bartering for stuff as part of the reason of their excuse for engaging. Because otherwise they're explorers as well, but otherwise they would just go from A to B. Don't stop, because you're going to get to B fast if you don't stop. Which is always stopping en route, and to justify that is because they have to keep replenishing food supplies and other materials.
I mean, has this person watched TOS? They're a deep space explorer. When do they go to a starbase? Eight times?
Even contact Starfleet Command, it's 1 week wait for the transmission.
So TOS is not a go back to starbase show. TNG is varied as all hell. They spend months out there not going to starbase. I mean, they rarely go to a starbase. They go to colonies.
It's usually shuttling somebody to a starbase,
which is not how you repair the ship.
On our way to starbase so-and-so, we ran into this problem.
Yeah. DS9, they live at a starbase. Fine. Enterprise, never go back to a starbase.
I think
so
we only saw
the shows don't go back to starbases. They're designed to be, the ones we see, Galaxy, Intrepid, they're designed to be out there. So it's not a starbase show.
I mean, TOS only went to starbases twice, didn't they? It was the Court Martial episode, which is the planetary starbase, and then there was K7, which was not really a full-blown starbase.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Huh.
The only 2 times you actually physically saw them
go
shit. To...
thanks, Reliant. Appreciate it. Please keep watching.
Oh, no, Court Martial.
Yeah, I was thinking Court Martial.
3.
Yeah.
So Court Martial was the other one. So...
Because you would think if your ship is designed to explore, you're going to be months away from anybody. You need to have your work bees that are entirely designed to repair almost any, at least repair warp coils, as you said. Because without repairing warp coils, you're stuck anywhere. So you have to have an entirely repairable warp system with work bees.
Yeah.
Has to be the case. Same with shields, same with weapons, really. Those three major things. Yeah, I mean...
Don't forget the dots. The dots repair the ship off screen. We never see it.
There was this...
Or exocomps. They're exocomps.
There was this episode I saw recently where they needed a material for the warp. They were running out of fuel.
Deuterium.
So they actually had to, in the end, they went to this planet which seemed to have this source of material, and then in the end they had to land the ship. And if they didn't find it, they weren't going to be able to take off again. And it turned out it was this mimic material. I'd never come across sentient life before, and it duplicated Harry and.
That's what we're talking about with, of course.
Shh.
Oh.
Demon Planet.
Moving on.
Demon
Olivia
Planet.
Julius, $5. Hashtag justice for the ring ship. Sam drinks.
Puggy. But I would think though, Stuart, that the Galaxy class must have at least 50 to 80 work bees. Or like 20 to 50, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of work bees. And I would assume they've got a work bee bay that can build more work bees.
I mean, one of the whole decks on the saucer section is just shuttle bay area.
Yeah.
The whole deck on the saucer section.
Yeah.
Massive.
So if you've got 25 work bees, each of which have things that can move around, I mean, how long does it take to... Because also, like in lower decks, panels are designed to be self-contained. So, like, you can pull plates off scarring, put new plates on. Like, they've got to be built to be repaired, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just having the material to replicate the new ones, which is why Voyager keeps on having to stop to get outsourcing materials because it can't generate them internally. Yeah. If it hadn't have got replenished supplies of food and alloys and things like that, it wouldn't have got to the Alpha Quadrant. Mm-hmm. It couldn't have done it by itself, so it did have to keep stopping to repair itself that way.
And ER Mixon's craziest theory says the real question is why they never use shuttle pod transporters when the ship's transporters go down. Well, that's called writing and creating tension. Also, Voyager didn't have any shuttles that had transporters on board. They didn't have any runabouts. They didn't have anything large like that.
You're saying Type 9s couldn't beam?
I wouldn't imagine so. You'd need one of those armband things to do it.
But the TNG...
There's no pads on the ship, is what I'm saying. There's no transporter pad.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really it. I mean, I felt they have beamed, but that might be from
beamed.
Voyager.
That's right, Voyager's beamed.
No, you've watched the season. Yeah. Have they ever beamed from a...
No.
Oh, shit.
They've actually beamed the whole shuttlecraft into the hangar bay, which is pretty impressive.
That's interesting. I've never considered that, Stuart.
But they always have... Voyager always gives a reason why they can't use a shuttle.
Oh, that's really
interesting. You know, it's maybe just a reason the atmosphere is too ionized, blah, blah, blah. But they don't just beam down as a first course. They can't use... If you think they should use a shuttle because they can't beam, they'll explain why they can't use a shuttle. There's always a line in the dialogue. Which again, is why I like Voyager, because it's very procedural and you really believe you are on a functioning starship in a way that the TOS is great series, but is a bit more theatrical in some ways. So it's a bit more out there. And obviously TNG has its moments.
Yeah. So, in fact, Stuart, you're saying that... So, back to the shuttles, because I was mulling it over. The Type 9 was the last shuttle we saw without beaming. The Type 11 does have a shuttle pad, because it was based on the runabout interior. So, that was a big jump.
I would imagine so.
That was a big evolution of that tech. It had a beam pad. That's interesting. Yeah. Ooh, I like it.
The one time Data had to beam from the shuttle to the Borg cube, he had the thing on his arm, like the portable transporter thing.
But I feel like he did use the shuttle's transporters... No, I think there was a little pad though at the back. I think there was a tiny...
Maybe they have transport emitters so they can extend the range.
No, I think there was. No, I think there was a pad in that shuttle. I'm pretty sure there was. Because I remember him saying because these things were to hide them from scanners. I'm pretty sure, but that was a bigger shuttle though. I mean, it wasn't really bigger, but it felt bigger. Because the Type 6 never quite felt impressive. Man, you blow my mind, Stuart.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, there's blood and guts everywhere here now. I'm gonna have to clean up.
Oh.
So I brought my little thing to show you.
Reveal.
Don't know if you can see it. I can't see if you can see it.
Just show them. Yeah, make sure it's
So that
Screen used.
probably from Voyager,
Hmm.
and it's been repainted to be used in First Contact.
Or made First Contact.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
So it actually came with
Better show it to the camera.
actually a working holster, so it wasn't fixed in as a single piece, which is quite nice. So I can't see it, but I can see it there. So yes, and apparently we looked through screen caps of the film, and the red button only appears in a few sequences. It looks like they painted the button red so it stands out better on screen. But anyway, you can see underneath it's still silver underneath.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we're thinking it's possibly this was a reused Voyager one, because they would have been knocking around.
But then not reused again for Voyager because otherwise it wouldn't be red anymore.
Yeah.
Because you can only see it. I mean, it's the classic hero close-up prop that Picard used, but in two sequences they're wearing them. It's the reshoots, because as you know, Stuart, they filmed it first with the first version of the phaser rifle, then again new scenes the second version, and those scenes edit back to back, so they literally swap rifles between scenes. In the new rifles, they have these with the buttons, and you can see them in the holster in the 4K version that was released on.
So it's made of hard rubber, so I don't know how it's going to last over the next 20, 30 years. But it does feel different when I wear this with my original Voyager outfit to now have an original
Blackwood, I could see.
phaser with it as well.
ER Mixon says, Super Chat now and I'll vaporize my son.
Huh.
Darn. Yeah.
So I put a bid in at auction, not expecting to win, and surprisingly I won. So
Yeah, we were all surprised.
I would have thought more people would have been wanting to buy it.
Oh.
And guess who gets to inherit all this stuff?
Me.
Yes, I've changed
Your
my
favorite
will.
son from across the pond.
I've changed my will, and I've nominated Stuart as the lead beneficiary of all my Star Trek stuff.
Great.
Because you got so much
we
Star
weren't,
Trek
we weren't
stuff.
supposed to tell him that yet. We were supposed to keep that secret.
But Gorgonzola has a really interesting curveball, Stuart. You ready?
Yes.
That one time they beamed out the shuttle at least once in Voyager in emergency. Tom Paris and B'Elanna beamed out when they tried to get the warp core. And they were floating in deep space and they were hugging as Voyager grabbed them. So that was a transporter. So it has emergency transporters, which are essentially transporters. So it does have transporters.
I would imagine shorter range for an emergency transporter, though.
But once you have the tech, then you
It's a
don't
bit like an ejection seat, that then, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
But then
Exactly.
you don't need a pad. Is what we're trying to say.
Uh-huh.
Which is the interesting.
So you haven't decided if you're coming to my birthday party yet, then, Stuart?
Oh.
Still thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a difficult time for sure.
Well, you have to blame my mum for that. It was her choice to conceive me when she did.
I was like, why are we playing Grandma here? I didn't get
and
the
give birth to me on March the 5th. I mean, I would have preferred it to be in May, really.
Mine's in May.
Well, there we are.
You can always go back in time and. No, that wouldn't.
But I was thinking, what could I do on my 60th birthday that would be memorable and like, not think, oh, that's just I'm 60. I thought, spend the day on the USS Enterprise, NCC 1701.
No bloody A,
That's right.
B, C, or D.
No, Ordi. Gotta add that excessive twinge to it.
So on the way down,
Yes.
we're going to. Well, I'm going to look at I've seen it before, but the USS Enterprise model, which they've been refurbishing for the last 20 odd years or something. So that went back on display in October last year. So
Smithsonian, yeah.
be great to see that again. I last saw that in 1988.
Nice. Yeah, my Sylvia's mom saw it at the Smithsonian like a week before they took it off display to get it restored. So she saw it like when it was still by the gift shop thing. So got pictures of it.
I saw it when it was hanging up, would you believe?
Yeah.
So it's even before the gift shop, I think.
Yep. Tangerine Star 26 throws in £10.
Dang it.
Should Paramount reboot Star Trek or carry on? Would rebooting also mean cutting ties with Secret Hideout? Can Picard say Season 3 save Star Trek? Sadly, there isn't enough deserving care and attention being given to the franchise. What the What are you smoking, Tangerine Star? I guess you haven't been paying attention.
Why?
I'm sorry to hear that.
What?
I find it is kind
Reboot.
of strange, really, that it's the animated series that are really carrying the torch for the franchise.
Yeah.
Because I was very anti. I was very didn't have much hope for the animated series because I was basing it on my experiences of the 1970s animated series. When, of course, because it was so costly to animate, the characters stood still most of the time. It's just their mouths that were moving.
Sometimes.
So so there wasn't so much movement or action as you can have
Aliens,
now.
though. Aliens.
Stories were still fantastic, written by the original writers of the series.
And the music was too intrusive as well.
Music's fucking awful. Something I can't stand about Star Trek: The Animated Series. I hate the music.
But yeah, pleasantly surprised and to see Lower Decks and Prodigy, really. Obviously.
Well, that's the thing. When we get a space fleet of sovereigns, Akiras, and centaurs, oh my, rather than 3 random invented ships, like, they would totally in their right to invent new ships that were shit, like ship models, but to put the time in to build these assets, like, that is a testament to, we'll just use the canon. It's like, well, yes. Why wouldn't you?
It just seems to me that dealing with real actors, there must be some kind of limitation because of who the actors are, or something that limits how they deal with them.
No, it's not that. It's more the producers. They are the ones who want to be in control of the live action shows, and they have more opinions. And they're the ones that have put the money behind getting the new shows back, as in Akiva Goldsman and Alex Kurtzman. Those 2 men versus the animated, where Mike got a show, he's in control, and Hagemans, they got a show, they're in control. But it's different, you know. Yeah.
But hey, I am going to watch Picard season 2,
You have to.
end of it before the next one starts, just to know, because I don't know what happened to Q. I've avoided.
Neither do we. Don't worry. Treybone 408, $5.
Thank you.
Fixed for Threshold, a species in the Delta Quadrant were manipulating any species' DNA who hit Warp 10, so they would stop going after Warp 10 to keep a military advantage in the Delta Quadrant. I love that idea. That's pretty great, actually.
Or even say the Q did it. Maybe Warp 10 is too powerful.
Destroying the continuum.
No, but that, yeah. But I mean, all Kiss do is this: they become salamanders, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Eric Martin, $5. I think it's better for Star Trek to stay on TV based and episodic rather than movie based, in my opinion. I mean, I don't have a problem with the movies being like the galaxy threatening thing, as opposed to like it's Star Trek as a format that's made for television, 100%, just the storytelling and everything. But a movie, I don't mind being like those galaxy stakes. Whereas Discovery, every episode, every season is a galaxy stakes that are on the line. So I think a movie works every once in a while, but yeah.
My problem with the movies was that they felt the need to always up the ante. Each movie have a much more dramatic end. So let's kill Spock, let's blow up the Enterprise, They felt the need to do that because it's a movie. It's got to have this big finale, which you don't have in TV, because your characters are going to come back the next episode. Much more gentle storytelling. So I'm like, let's kill Kirk, because we need to have a dramatic end to the film that everyone's going to remember. But let's just kill him in a piss poor way, because we don't like William Shatner. I don't know. For all the ways they could have killed him.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
If I was William Shatner, he was not short of a few bucks. I wouldn't have signed up to do that film.
Well, no, he wasn't given a choice. It's like either we kill Kirk with or without you. They said that to him.
Without me, then.
Well, but then your legacy gets ruined because he gets killed off screen.
Well, then it's better than him.
But then the fans would say, "Why couldn't you come back and do it properly?" I mean, then you'd get blamed for not wanting to bring Kirk back, because the writers would say, "Hey, Shatner didn't want to come back. It would have been great if he'd come back." I mean, because at least if Shatner does it, he can say, "Well, the writing was crap. That's not his fault, is it?" So. Someone said a thing I want to respond to. Oh no, movies. Yes, sure. The thing about movies, right? It's not either or. It's both. Do movies as epic, high-budget stories, like as well as the shows. Like the TV movies worked because they were going alongside the shows. You got a bit of everything. They didn't need to be the biggest thing ever because of the TV shows.
First Contact is a pretty good film.
It's a very good film.
Of all of them, I think.
It's great.
But I quite like Insurrection. That's more like an episode that they put on the big screen.
Yes. That's the problem I have with it. It feels too much like an episode, and not a good one either. It's
But not a bad one. Though.
No, that's why I said it's an all right one.
Yeah.
But I think Insurrection is probably their best movie, isn't it, for TNG?
Well, that's controversial.
No, First Contact for sure.
Generation's easily the worst.
No, that's what I meant to say. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm getting old. Did I tell you I'm nearly 60?
So am I. I'm 48. Damn.
Yeah.
Yes, 48, nearly 60. Yeah, okay.
12 years, man. That's not a long time.
8 years of Trekyards. It'll be 20 years of Trekyards at that point, Stuart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll forget my name by then.
Who are you?
Then I'll really need he's somebody. And he's Captain Foley, because I won't remember my own name.
Stuart, I'm in my 30s. Wait, how old will I be?
You'll be 30 this year.
I know that. In 12 years, I'll be what?
42.
Do you know what? I remember when you were born. We got video of it.
I don't.
Ooh, let's see the video.
I've never watched it. I took the camera, but in the end I wasn't going to film it, so the anaesthetist filmed it. So I've never actually watched Samuel because he's born by cesarean section. So it's sitting in a cupboard somewhere to be released to the world at some point.
We'll do a 4K restoration at some point.
Special effects and yeah.
But but Stuart, are we going the 3 hours or just sticking with the 2?
I'm fine with the 2. I mean, you guys have been very generous and helpful this one, so
at least 50 more bucks, guys. I would like to see 50. 100 would be the dream. So if we can get 10 tens, the dream, Stuart. Agreed?
Yeah.
10 tens.
Yeah.
What I would like to say about
while he's
Star
here
Trek,
as well, because he's going to go in a minute. So
what I'd like to say about Star Trek is it helps keep me young.
Oh.
You know that you could say all this dressing up that I do, whatever. I remember how old I thought my dad was at my age, in his behaviours and whatever. But the idealism and the energy and the youthfulness of Star Trek, it's actually quite invigorating. It does. And as you know, I'm in the odd Star Trek film in a smaller or bigger capacity. So we've got something coming out soon. A couple of things still in the can that have been worked on for a while. So I've got that to thank because it reminds me of my childhood, and to think it's been such a major part. Now I've got to this age to think that Star Trek has been such a major part of my life for all that time. Like we're saying, what these other franchises like Lost in Space didn't have longevity. There was something about what they achieved that gave it this longevity, and why they want to mess around with that, really, when they've got something that is actually unique. Although Doctor Who has gone on for as long, but it doesn't have has a big following, but not as big as Star Trek. I mean, Star Wars obviously is a different type of franchise. That probably will keep going. Now Disney are making a quite good programs, but they're being very, very reverential to their source material, and they're giving people what they like and what made it popular in the first place.
Yep.
Why reinvent the wheel? I mean, you can add a bit of chrome to it, I guess. Inflate the tires a bit more, but why have 6 wheels when 4 are just as good?
Yep. No, I hear you. Mark Lawrence, that's a great comment. Mike McMahon needs to poke fun at Disco and Picard again by naming a restaurant at a starbase or a planet Galaxy Steaks. That's hilarious. I love it. And Mark Lawrence again, $10. Thank you so much. Here's a tenner. How are those name a ship character submissions coming, Samuel? The little investor. I'll have to read that when Samuel gets back again, Mark. But I'm sure they're coming along well.
That's a good super chat, then, isn't it? Get read out twice.
Well, Oh yeah,
Double-
It's Mark
double-
Lawrence. He's
double-
one of our Federation presidents. In our
Ah,
Federation
okay,
board.
well, yes. And Samuel's back.
Yes. Okay.
So Samuel, we got two great things from Mark Lawrence.
Oh.
First, he says
Oh no.
Mike McMahon needs to poke fun at Disco and Picard again by naming a restaurant at a starbase or planet Galaxy Steaks.
Okay.
Steakhouse. That's hilarious.
Okay.
And Mark Lawrence also says, "Here's a tenor.
Oh.
How are those name a ship character submissions coming along?" And hello, Ambassador. So that's aimed at you. So you got to that.
I think we have like 9 in, which is great. Most of them. Couple of odd requests. As in, like, this ship you haven't said I could do. Can I do this? I'm like, maybe, but when the fuck do I include that sort of ship? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you throw an X refit in, I don't ever throw them in. That's why I
They
said,
don't.
like, it's not a bad thing. It's just like, well, if it's a Miranda, I could put in any of these 12 and X refit. The future? So I've had that a couple of times, which is fine. Just, you know, that's why I sent the email I sent. But going well.
All right, well,
Going well.
Yes.
we didn't talk about others. You were talking about science fiction in general, not just Star Trek, weren't you? I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Why is Trek the best sci-fi show? There you go. There's the.
Well, I guess I touched on that. I mean, the proof of the pudding's in the eating. People vote with their feet, which has the longest and biggest following in history, and that's Star Trek.
Possibly Star Wars,
Well, Star Wars started later, so it can't be.
but it's more mass market though. So more
I
people
was very
come to it.
specific about longevity and
Yeah, but
popularity.
you can have one thing that comes in and gets like 1 million people
But
interested
also,
from day one.
if you think about where it started, I mean, in the 1960s, when the special effects were less
Developed.
and they did very good use of the sets, but the sets weren't made of cardboard, but obviously they're not as glossy and flashy as they are now. And for that still to have its roots in the future and a following going on from that, and if you watch TOS, which I do quite regularly, as theatre and the performances, and what I like about TOS is the colour scheme. I saw someone do a reimagined bridge where they toned down it to like blues and got rid of all the reds. And I thought, why? Because that really made that bridge pop. And that, of all the bridges, I mean, I like Voyager as a series,
I like Voyager
but I'm
bridge.
not a great fan of the bridge.
I like it a lot.
I don't like the bridge.
I think it's great.
It's too dark. I much prefer the TOS bridge or the Galaxy class bridge.
Stuart likes dark bridges. The darker the better for Stuart. He would like it in night mode at all times.
Really?
I just like the lighting better dark, because you can see the consoles better.
He doesn't have to. You don't want to be able to see the steps or the carpet to see where you're going. You want to see the lights.
Yes.
But Red Dwarf has done very well, considering that started in
Like
1985 or something, 86.
Yeah.
And they've moved with the times. The actors have been able to age with the series, and that's got a very basic idea of a bit like Star Trek, really. Ship alone in space, having to exploring and having to make their own way.
Except everyone's dead, Stephen. Everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead, Stephen. Everyone's dead.
Stephen.
And I've actually got 3 outfits from Red Dwarf.
One is a dress shirt.
2 medics. Well, 4 outfits. 2 medics. One's an engineer with a sleeve.
You're muted, guys.
Oh, I muted him for the typing. I'm
Uh-huh.
at least having someone else on my.
And then I've actually got one of the first 2 seasons officers' outfits, but without the tie. But sadly, I've put on so much weight I can't squeeze into those very tight-waisted. I have to lose weight so I can wear my Arnold Rimmer uniform.
Yes, and you shouldn't stretch screen used. That's somewhat mean.
Yes.
Yes.
So I guess I'll leave you guys to it unless anyone wants to ask me any questions. Although I'm a bit.
Anybody have a question while he's here? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Of question.
I think everyone's pretty tired, really.
Well, for some people it's like 5 in the afternoon. So. Okay, $50, and I will world premiere a shot from the next short film. with somebody in this room. How many people are in this room, Dad?
1, 2, 3, 4. See,
we're not including Jeff or Benny.
No, when you see Samuel, you think it's just him because he's the lead man, like in a pop band. You don't see all the roadies behind.
Crew,
yeah.
The art, the makeup.
I mean, how many crew do you have there? We have 6 here.
Jeff, Benny, Bob, Dylan.
So every time Samuel says, "No, Stuart, you're an idiot," he's talking to the gaffer behind the camera. I get it. Okay.
The real trick is
that was aimed at me.
The real trick is to have these people here as interns. They're working for free just for the experience. So it can go on their CV, you see.
I wouldn't let them meet Doug, though. They're on that side of the camera. Because it's funny, Stuart. I see my wall. You've seen this wall. Everyone else might think there's a whole room back here. There ain't.
As I said, it's a reverse TARDIS. It's smaller on the inside than on the outside.
Yeah.
But a lot happens in this building.
Closet.
UK Ash, favourite non-Star Trek sci-fi movie? Go.
Gosh. Aliens 2 is pretty good.
You mean Aliens? There is no Aliens 2.
Okay.
Alien 2, Aliens.
Galaxy Quest, you can always watch that for a good romp.
Romperoonie.
Terminator 2 doesn't really... Does Terminator 2 counts as sci-fi?
Technically, but not in my... I mean, that more so Terminator 1, though. There's more stuff in it.
I think Aliens 2 probably is pretty...
Oh, thanks, Treborn. It's nice of you to say.
I'm sure I haven't seen it. Battlestar Galactica reimagined series is quite good. They were like films in themselves, weren't they? And I think Aliens 2 probably would be the one off the top of my head. I mean Aliens.
Thank you.
What about you, Stuart?
That's a tough question though. There's a lot of good sci-fi. Wow. Favorite.
Have you seen the new Avatar film?
I have, yes.
Is it worth going to see?
Well, of course it's worth going to see.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Because the cinema experience is how the best,
we haven't
best
been.
way. I know, but...
Is it still on?
Yeah, it'll be on for months. It'll be on for a long time, I bet.
We want to go when it's just us in the cinema because you quite like that. There's 2 of us left. So we can actually critique it while we're watching it.
Mystery Science Theatre type.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, I forget the name of it now. It's the one with the bomb, the sentient bomb. That was quite a good one. That was a student film. That was. I can't remember the name of it.
That does not ring a bell.
And then there's the film with the plant. Sorry, I'm not thinking well.
You're really selling me on these, you know. The one with
Silent
the plant.
Running. Is it Silent Running?
That's a naval film, I think.
No, there's a film where Earth's become so polluted that they've actually put these forests and life in these ships in deep space. Something Running. That was quite a good one.
It's Silent Running, yeah.
Oh.
And because they're saying that George Lucas actually was inspired to create R2-D2 based on the 3 robots that were there, because they also used dwarfs to give them life. No,
Roger Corson, call and say Dark Star.
That's it, Dark Star. That's a very cheaply produced film, but the concept was quite good, and it's got very, very dark humour. But I think it was like students produced that. It was like a student film, or something. It wasn't a mainstream film anyway.
Okay.
Dark Star.
I think I know what you're talking about that. And Treborn has a question, Stuart.
Question: why is it when someone is falling or lying on the ground in Star Trek that they most of the time end up standing up after being transported? I always wondered. Because it's what transporters can do.
It's an automatic feature. Because you don't want blunt force trauma, falling, pad dead. You want them to be repurposed.
On a recent episode of Voyager, they were trying to persuade this scientist to tell them where this wormhole was. This is a space Nazi one. Because these refugees, the Doors, these refugees were trying to escape through this wormhole, and the Dor were trying to find the wormhole as well. But this scientist apparently knew where it was, and they transported him, and he was sitting down. And when he was transported into the transporter room, he was standing up. But yes, it's magic.
Oh, it's a useful feature.
Well, if they can disassemble you and reassemble you, they can certainly put you in any kind of position they want, can't they?
I mean, especially if in many situations you're on a shuttle where you're sitting, that's going to happen quite regularly.
I mean, you could use transport as a form of cosmetic surgery if you wanted to have bigger breasts or more muscles. I mean, they could just use a transporter to rearrange things.
But it's unethical, though, probably.
I'd use it for weight loss.
Yes. You and
Me
me
back
both.
up with like 10 pounds less.
But then you have all the skin, though, 'cause it wouldn't change your body necessarily. You're just
Well, just go to sick bay. Just walk right to sick bay. And have them-
well, that's the thing. But then just go sick bay for all of it, wouldn't you?
Oh,
If
no.
only,
So I'm sure there are pills that just burn fat. I mean, why wouldn't you have it as
if we
injection?
only had access to Voyager's sickbay, life would be sweet, wouldn't it?
Gorgonzola, last question. Question of Mr. Cockins. Which one is your favourite Doctor?
Tom Baker.
Ooh.
I think
Who
it might
did
mean
the
Doctor
longest.
as in Doctor in Star Trek.
No,
Oh.
no, I think you meant Doctor, because you say Doctor and you mean Doctor. The Doctor, I think. No, he's English. Continue, Tom Baker.
Of Doctor Who, it would be Tom Baker because he was my third Doctor. Makes me sound
Your
like
third Doctor?
It makes me sound like I'm being
Oh,
promiscuous, doesn't it? Really. He was my third. He's the third Doctor I had, but he really inhabited that role. He was 89, wasn't he? 89 this
Real
week.
Yeah.
But in Star Trek, I mean, my favourite Doctor has got to be McCoy. That's it.
Oh. Not EMH then.
No, he's a close second, but McCoy's actually nicer all round as a person. The Doctor is a bit more irascible.
I mean, season 7 Doctor's very nice.
Haven't got there. But we sat down at the same dinner table with him, didn't we?
That was nice.
Yeah, so...
He's very interesting chap, is Rob Picardo.
Yeah.
Very, very good to interview. He's very giving.
Nice guy. He knows his stuff. He knows his Star Trek. He remembers episode titles. He remembers the dialogue. Remembers the technobabble. He's very good. I wish more actors were like him.
Well, I think he both appreciated being in it, but also he appreciates his fans in a mutual appreciation way. He wants to engage. He isn't just there because he needs to be.
But he did get such a good role, and he got to
That's
play
the thing.
different in different layers of that role, and there was character development, so that all actors like progression. And no, as I say, I appreciate the cast so much more having watched Voyager back to back that I'm going to make a real effort to meet up with them now and have some photos taken with them.
I've met them all except Kess, and she doesn't do conventions. That's why. Oh, and Jerry.
Who wants to meet Cass? She was like the worst character in Voyager.
But she got some good episodes though.
Never met Jerry actually. She's always too expensive.
Who?
Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, I almost signed up to have a picture taken with
Yeah.
her.
But like £80 is like, or 70. It's just like,
Yeah, with the cost of living
yeah,
crisis at the moment.
yeah.
Anyway, congratulations on reaching 27 million views, because that is a significant achievement. If you go to anyone saying we've had 27 million views, forget how long it took you to get them. It's still any achievement for any YouTube channel to get that.
What else in achievements, yeah?
Having an ad. Yeah, 27 million views. You'll find channels that have triple, quadruple the amount of subscribers as us that don't have anywhere near that many views. So, and even though their videos do like twice, 3 times the amount of ours view-wise as well. We've just got a lot of content and a lot of stuff out there.
But
So
also,
a lot of
it's
history.
your viewer base is different, so it's quality rather than quantity. There are people in the industry of the thing you're reviewing who follow you. There are very few YouTubers out there, a lot of those covering Star Trek, who have that kind of street cred with the people who actually make the content.
Yeah,
and
John
have the
Hughes.
respect.
John Hughes texted me like when they were in production for season 1 of Discovery, saying I'm in the whatever room and they're watching Trekyards right now in the production room. So,
Well, one of the funny ones was when we went up to the I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, the Asian actor in Discovery knows who we are. Name drops 2 other YouTubers he doesn't like.
Yeah.
Straight out. It's like, oh, cool. But I was right though. As Gorgonzola did mean Doctor. He said I was expecting that answer. Actually, I recently built a Tom Baker as 4th Doctor statue in Minecraft. Oh, nice. Thanks for being here, Mr. Goggins.
We actually met.
Thanks for spelling his name right.
Thank you.
My name right.
We've,
Our name right.
we've seen Tom a few times.
Not that many times.
Well, a few.
Well, I mean, you're older.
I've seen him more than
Yeah,
you
you've
have.
seen more than I have.
But I introduced him to Tom Baker when
yes.
Sam was about 8 years old.
remember that.
He came to Bedford. He was signing his
I
autobiography.
wish I remembered that.
And he offered Samuel a jelly baby, and Samuel said no. He could have kept that jelly baby, taken it, and not eaten it, and said this was one of Tom Baker's actual jelly babies from the fourth iteration of the Doctor.
And I've been told why I said no, Stuart. Do you want to know why I said no?
Why?
You don't take candy from strangers.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've been told. That's the reason I said no.
He looked like Tom Baker then because his hair was still darker. He was dyeing it, and he actually had one of those scarves on as well.
Yeah, he often did. Yeah, I got a picture of them at the last convention did in the UK. Last convention, so I'm very happy I got that. Did you get that one too?
No,
Your previous one, didn't you? You got one, Tom Baker?
I haven't had one with Tom Baker.
Oh, yeah, I just got in before he booked out.
I'm really happy with my picture I got with what's his name?
I don't know. We've had hundreds.
So this is
We've had
you see,
hundreds.
when you get to 60, this is what happens to your brain. You see, from the thick of it, the guy
Peter Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
We've got a fantastic picture with him. We were both in the zone.
He looked like the Doctor.
And I didn't realise that I'd actually worked remotely with Peter Capaldi before because he did the voiceover for a Roman documentary that I was in. And
nice.
Because I don't do... Elizabeth, my wife, does lots of research on programmes before and after. And I don't do research. If I researched before meeting him, I would have realised, then I would have had a conversation piece. Peter, you actually did the voiceover for my documentary. That would have been a nice little... But hey-ho, missed opportunity. I guess I'm going to go back to work.
It's 11 p.m. We both still work at 11 p.m. And obviously we're working here now, Stuart. But
So if you come to Kingsland, you get to play with this. I'll bring it with me. Otherwise, you have to come all the way to England.
which we also want to get him to England. So.
Yes. Cool. Well, yeah, we'll let you know.
Yep. Sounds very positive, doesn't it?
Totally positive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's either he's a replicator rations, or he's run out of replicator rations, or he hasn't got transporter privileges.
I
Both.
said my transporter is broken.
He did say that.
Oh, I'm sure. Being the ambassador, I'm sure I can call in a few favours from
If only.
some.
If you can get me a working transporter, I'll definitely go.
I might be able to get a ship in orbit to beam you up and do a site-to-site transport.
Perfect.
But not you won't be allowed to be on the ship itself because you'll see the future. So it'll just be you'll.
And also, it's Terminator rules. So you got to beam naked, Stuart.
No.
I'm fine with that too.
Okay, no,
I have no shame.
Okay.
Well, I don't know either.
God, can you imagine doing a film where you beam onto the Enterprise naked?
Well, Hugh did.
Hugh did.
Q appeared naked.
Oh, he did. And they saw his penis. He was actually naked, so everyone saw his penis.
Yeah, Doug Drexler had to apply makeup near there. We've heard that story.
On that note,
What?
on John Delancey's penis. Goodbye, Dad.
Well, we're talking about the
Penises, yes.
great sci-fi. John Lance's penis.
Yep.
I mean,
It's science
what can you
fantasy
say?
almost.
Only in
That's
Star Trek.
the answer to the question of why Star Trek is the best sci-fi show.
Exactly.
John.
We've solved it. There we are.
Yeah,
Call it a
yeah.
night now. All right. Bye bye
Thanks,
all.
Urs. Nice seeing you.
Yeah. Arrivederci. It'd be nice if it had a beaming effect, wouldn't it? I can just beam out.
It would, rather than awkwardly going through a door, yeah. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The
Always
ambassador
a pleasure.
came all this way. But actually, that is first time not in uniform. I feel like he normally uniforms. No, I'm judging for that.
Usually.
Yeah, I feel like he's normally... Oh, let me just swap headphones.
Peter Lukaku, though, $20.
Oh!
Yep,
Beautiful.
boys. Speaking of the Alien franchise, what are your thoughts on the prequels, Prometheus and Covenant? I like the progression of the artificial character David in the two movies. I enjoy both those movies quite a bit. Prometheus is amazing in 3D, by the way. I have a 3D with that. And yeah, David is an awesome character. Very well done. I have no problem with it.
The problem, obviously, is that they were Alien films, but not. They tried to move away from that a lot, and they course corrected for Covenant. I like Covenant quite a lot actually. It's more faithful. But if they end with a Alien, is great. I like a lot of Prometheus, but I know it's a fundamentally flawed film. And if
The visuals are fantastic.
they are. Yeah, it's tricky. They should have been a lot better. I think that's my closing thought.
But it could have been worse.
Yes, but that's most things. I'm not going to give credit for could have been worse. Like Ridley Scott should have known better. He was going on a I can do anything metaphysical train. It's fine, but if it doesn't work, then it comes across as eh. But then again, to see that many neomorph, like xenomorph variants is really interesting. Like I liked seeing the squid thing, and then the fact I love the scene in Covenant where spoilers, where an actual alien bursts out and David like talks to it, like interacts with it, and you're my dad, not really, and then it's like a skeleton. It's interesting. It's really interesting there's some good stuff in those films. I want a third one. Like they led into a third one. There's a very natural next step. So yeah.
Gestrel says, oh yes, I did. Gestrel, 1980, $10. Hashtag Code of Honor. Cheers. That means I got a drink for sure.
Gosh. Dear me. But yeah, we hit our tremendous minimum. Fantastic. Now, Stuart, we have plans, of course. Sunday is going to be a giant live. I'm coming back to Bedford. We're going to do a trailer reaction live for the Picard trailer. We know it's coming out in or after the Super Bowl or the football game. Soccer or the American football. We're going to jump on that, do a live. Excited for that. The teaser for the trailer looked cool. So I'm hoping the trailer's even cooler, as it should be. And then next week we're doing review content as well. I would expect a lot of stuff next week because we're ramping into Picard. And, yeah. I'm excited to see.
And pay attention on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the Titan.
Yes.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's a new one today. Go check it out if you haven't.
There is.
Speaking of, hit that like button if you haven't. We're at 74. I'd like to get close to 100. So hit it now. If you haven't voted on the poll, we have 118 votes. We should probably close that one out, actually.
Well, read out then.
Is Star Trek the best sci-fi show or franchise of all time?
Oh.
The winner is yes, the best at 82%.
Okay.
And nope, there is better comes in at 18%.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I feel we have kind of a biased audience, though.
Possibly. That may be true.
But that's okay. Because our audience is awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, guys, just let you all... I am filming my first shoot of 2023 in my fan film world. We're shooting Marcus Churchill. He's back, first on the roster this year. We're shooting 2 documentaries because he always has a beard unless his work forces him to shave his face. Then he asks me, do you want me to keep it shaved for filming? I'm like, yes, because I could use young Harriman. So he's now playing young Harriman tomorrow. So despite being his late 40s, he's playing his mid-20s tomorrow. It's nice.
It's very nice.
I think it's the third time knowing him since refilming he's had a shaved face, which is how I knew him at university. So it's nice to see. That's the Harriman I know. So he's coming tomorrow. We've got 2 docs. Should I tell you? Should I give you a note what they're about, Stuart, and see if you can give a reaction?
Sure.
Via the Facebook, I'll type what one is about.
Okay. So yeah, guys, hit that like button if you haven't yet. Let's try to get to at least 80. I want to get to 100, but 3 more likes. 3 of you probably haven't hit that like button. Have you seen the teaser clip for this final trailer cards? Is it 3? I'll be on Sunday. Yes, we just talked about that. And we'll be doing a live thing on the trailer when it's out.
All right, give that a read. Don't obviously say it out loud, but let us know. Let me know what you think. That's the basic premise. What time in the UK? Dan, I don't know. I've got to get back. Also, don't know the trailer.
Nice. It's interesting.
Yes. Any specific thoughts you can say without being spoilery?
New side to a certain race.
Mm-hmm. Does the
Interesting. I like that twist.
Does the antagonist fit? I certainly think it does.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic.
I'm going to see both of its forms as well.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know I'm trying to be specific, because I was presented with a 3D model of it. I'm like, ooh, I would never have thought to make it, but such a iconic's the wrong word, iconic visual, but like when you know, like, oh, nice. I think is it fair to say.
Yeah. And Peter the Caco, $10.
Thank you.
Including track that you are looking forward to in 2023.
What shows are coming out?
The Last of Us. Wait.
Oh, yeah.
Mandalorian season 3, obviously.
Okay, what's coming out this year? Loki season 2, for sure. Picard,
Yes.
obviously. The Witcher, the last one with Henry Cavill. That'd be sad, but exciting.
Yes.
Last season of Flash, I stopped years ago. How About Your Father, I haven't watched that yet. Wow, I watch so little new TV. My goodness. Like none of these things I watch. Wow.
Megan Bruns, member for 7 months at the rank of Commander.
Thank you.
Trek was, and always will be the best sci-fi. It's a great thing to have out there at the end of the live. Amazing. We only need one more like to get to 80, guys.
I mean, guys.
One of you is guilty for not hitting the like button.
I mean, do it right now. Do it.
Do it.
Yeah. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Yes. Support.
Thank you to everyone that's.
Trekyards.
I'm going to say thank you to everyone that's watched and supported us and super chatted. We really appreciate it.
Makes a
If you're watching us
giant
after the
difference.
fact, yes, if you're watching us after the fact, the super thanks button exists.
Yeah, we got a few on a recent video. That was really nice to see.
Yeah, you can show us the love on that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, because as I said earlier, and you guys have supported, so just reiterating, we had a bad month in December. Prodigy was a medium, if not low income. We're holding out for Picard. Obviously, we're going to put our absolute dot into gear. I know we've talked about it, but we're probably going to be doing daily lives like with previous years, really like hit home, relevant topics, cast discussions, really go in. I think we stopped doing predictions, but I felt this might be a good time to redo predictions, and like this will be the show for that. So really excited. It'll be 10 weeks of hardcore Trekyards, as you come to know and love. So join us for that. The only place on YouTube that will do daily videos, breakdowns, cast analysis, like the only place. You guys know, but without the super chats we can't keep doing it. So make sure you come in every Friday for those lives. We want to see double the amount of people, double the amount of super chats, and help us to like 3 months of rent from the time, because we could do with it. So thank you in advance, because we're going to try to jump in.
CJ the dad says, sorry, I forgot to hit the like button. It's okay.
That's okay.
And Dan, yes, we're aware that Legal Moss stuff's been picked up by Master Replicas. So,
well, it's odd because Master Replicas was a famous company back in the day, but the website is just a standard page. So a new company called Master Replicas, I guess? I'm confused by this.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the same one, but yeah.
Because they were liquidated
that.
years ago. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Good
It does not give me hope if a company without a website active. Yeah, weird. But yeah, weird. It's really exciting though.
And yes, they're continuing the monthly Build the Enterprise D thing. And if they're smart, they would just offer the whole thing all at once if you would choose to.
Ooh.
Just to get people to just get it to finish it. 'Cause that's why I was leery of it at first. Cause,
If it stops.
yeah.
That's true. Or like you could buy 15 issues a go.
Yeah.
Imagine the influx of cash if you could buy any issue tomorrow, including the end ones. I mean, they're tens of thousands probably. Damn.
It's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, but you tend to want monthly income or one-time cash boost and never again. There's a reason why subscriptions work, because they give you like our join the channels. Super chats are great, but you've got income with regular joins. So I get the logic. And yes, check out today's animation. It's the Titan A meets the Romulan fleet. That was fun to make for sure, and quite reminiscent of one I made, 7 years ago, where the Defiant met the Romulan fleet. It's quite similar in a good way. And in fact, there's 2 Defiants in it.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Tangerine Star 26, 2 pounds. Catch up on your sleep now. Picard season 3 is near. Yeah, no shit.
I mean, I'm working overtime to do stuff before Picard, but sleep when I'm dead.
This is the way.
This is the way. All right, Stuart. Really great to see you.
Yes.
Good luck for tomorrow, of course, in the thing.
Thank you.
All the best. Everyone wish Stuart luck. I'm going into details, obviously, but
yeah.
Good luck. Please let me know, even a quick "it went well."
Oh yeah, for sure I will.
Thank you so much. I'll be filming all day. I'll be up at 4 a.m. your time.
Damn. 4 a.m. my time?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 9.
Oh.
It's a normal time for people to, like, it's actually late for people if you work.
That's when I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Although not tonight, because I can't stay up late, because I gotta go to do that next one. So.
It was funny, if I was doing a 9 to 5 and had to get to the office, if I was waking up at 7 a.m, I could message you at 2 a.m. and say, "Hey Stuart, I'm going to work." Yeah. Oh, time zones.
They're a funny thing.
So until next time, he is Captain Foley.
Oh,
and I'm Gong Kongs.
Alright. I'm Captain Foley.
There we go. Thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.